See, did you hear it go ding? I didn't hear it
No.
go ding this time.
No.
But anyway, we're live. I don't understand that. It dinged last week, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So, welcome to Comic Book Roundtable, everyone. Glad to have everybody here. Some of the usual cast and some new faces this week. Of course, we have with us Mike and Luke. How's it going, guys?
I'm the traveling man.
You're a traveling man, yeah. out in my swampy neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Of course, my half of the state doesn't get any rain, so there you go. But you're on the wet half. And with us tonight also, we have Fred. How's it going, Fred?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. First time here. I know you're in the comments all the time. Wanted to be on. Makes sense. That's where Mike started out, too. He commented all the time. And then one day, got up the guts to go, let me on. See? And I don't bite, right?
No.
Not hard, no.
Not hard? Okay. Well, once I get to know you, then I'll pick on you. But I'm usually nice to start out with anyway. So let's talk some books. We agreed we were going to talk DC first, is that right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So what do we want to talk about DC-wise? What did people read? We want to talk Suicide Squad right off the bat?
Yeah,
All right.
let's talk Squad.
Okay.
Tricky. We got special bullets that can knock out the little bombs and all the tech gear. So it was good to see that the reveal was that there's, that they're going to keep the squad, that there's the secret organization that is going to free them and make use of them. And it'll be, it's just nice the way they started out with Harley telling the tale of Lloyd Lawton, that hunk of burning love that the
and the lunch lady
loves. But when he starts out with his fight with Captain Boomerang, I am a Boomerang fan. I do like Lawton, but knowing that Boomerang is such a screw up and that he has to yell at him as he's throwing, let alone that Lawton can see Captain Boomerang's reflection in the lunch lady's glasses, and can stop the boomerang and throws the pizza slice, spatula,
Right.
perfectly, jams it into his teeth. That's just the best way of starting this off.
Yeah. I'm enjoying the story. I mean, I kind of like the idea of them kind of potentially going rogue, and basically it's them kind of having this dream about, we're gonna start our own organization, and we're gonna take down Task Force Esk, and we're gonna make Waller work at a burger joint in the backwoods of Louisiana, and then we'll show up one day and we'll fight with each other over how we're gonna torture her to death or whatever. I don't know. I gotta kick it up. And you know what? We've kind of been told that, of course, going into Rebirth, there's going to be a creative change once again on this book.
Yeah.
It's almost free, because now I'm not reading the book thinking, what the long-term game plan is here. What's Tim Seeley up to, for the long haul. Is he trying to work some longer story? So I'm just reading it knowing that I'm going to get 4 or 5 crazy story issues, and I guess that's it, right?
They definitely started off crazy. I mean, this little journey to Germany in a minivan with them all packed in, and the elaborate plan to get them free was, I thought, smart. I liked it, and getting them there, introducing them to these knockoff, third-rate, basically the real Suicide Squad, I thought was kind of nice.
Yeah, and I thought the twist at the end is funny too. Of course, Seeley is mining some of his stuff that he's kind of been using in Grayson, right?
Yeah.
We get the
Kane. Fist of Kane.
the Sons of Cain, is that what they're called?
Fist of Kane.
Fists of Cain, that's right. Fists of Cain. So he's mining some of that stuff, which I think is kind of cool. To work it into it. And I guess I like the way it ends, just because that's typical of the Suicide Squad, right?
Yes.
The second they think that something's going cherry for them, it's probably going, upside down on them really, pretty quickly. So I don't know. That was fine. I dig the art.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think there's certain artists I can just look at their stuff all day. Capullo, I can look at his stuff all day. Jacques, I can look at his stuff all day. Same thing with Ferreira. And I think what kind of Ferreira, he does it like Coppola does too, where not only does his just the way he does his art, just the style is really good. It's just how he complements the story and how it's told. It's like almost like it's like his art is like the script. And you kind of look like this one page where Harley's telling the story, and you got each panel is like the room, and he goes, you actually get like the pipes, and then you just see her moving around. It's just, I don't know what's the right word, if it's cinematography or I don't know. It's just the way his art style goes.
Yeah.
It just,
I mean, he's playing with the page layout. It's not just simply a 6-panel or a 9-panel whatever grid, kind of a thing. But he's, using the page layout. I mean, and they should. That's part of the art of sequential art in comic books is that page layout. So, and he does a good job of it. I mean, he's going to play with it. It's not going to be simple. So.
I did not read his old book that you guys are telling me about, and so when I first saw on Twitter his watercolor use, I got worried. And then when I saw him put inks on top of that, I was amazed.
Yeah, he's got kind of a different style. His technique of using it, the way he layers stuff. You see him starting out. If you see the basic groundwork of his stuff, you're like going, "Ooh, this could be a mess." But yeah, he tightens it up. He tightens it up good.
Yeah,
for sure. Cool. I'm excited for the next issue.
Now, correct me if I'm trying to think, for the movie-wise, is everyone representing the characters that's going to be in the movie? Because I know Cheetah
is not.
I don't think she's not in the movie, but is everyone else represented in there?
Yes.
Croc's the only one we're missing, right?
Well, Croc, Katana, Flag. So I mean, it is really a mix of different generations of it.
Yeah. The movie's got quite a larger cast. How much they'll use that cast, I don't know, but yeah. I don't know though, because you see the cast shot, and then you look at the action sequences, and a lot of those cast members aren't in the previews that we've seen. So.
And in true Suicide Squad, at the beginning, somebody has to lose their head though, just to show about the bombs, because that always seems to be the way I noticed they start at least in the last, from the 52 on, it seems that that's what they do with the comic, that one person has to test it out, one person shows how it works.
Right. Push it and get blown up. Awesome. Okay, what else? What else DC-wise? Brad, did you pick up any DC this week?
Yep, like you guys were talking about earlier, I got Detective 50.
Oh, sweet. We can talk Detective. What'd you think?
I mean, I enjoyed it. I just think it's weird how many statues exist in Gotham.
No doubt, huh?
But, I live on the East Coast, so I've seen this one in person.
Yeah.
The 54th?
54th in Boston, yep.
Yeah, and that is spot on. I gotta give him props for that.
Oh, yeah, nice. Didn't realize that. But yeah, and conveniently, how many of them face, east or whatever it was, northeast or whatever direction it needs to point to the crypt?
Yeah, all of them.
Which, the crypt, if you... Batman 40 cover, if you ever wondered.
Oh, yeah?
I know, I'm sure everyone here, but those who are watching, the cover where got the guy with the thing attacking the dragon, that's reference. That's
right. Yeah. Got a better memory than me.
I did see somebody tweet about that the other day.
Yeah, I mean, as a whole, I enjoyed it. I've enjoyed this story arc. Mm-hmm. It feels kind of like old Batman to me. I mean, there are things clearly I can chuckle at and pick on if I want to, but there's lots of those that I can't. In fact, all these statues all have to be facing the right direction, and then somehow he can pick out that many statues that meet his crime need. There's no explanation as to why. Because there's two things going on, right? He's gathering these bones to do a ritual to supposedly open a gate of hell. So not so he can let something out. That's at least a novel concept. He's not letting anything out. He's opening up a gate so he can go through and St. George the devil to death, right?
Right.
So there's that part of it, and then you've got the whole, why is he dressing the people up? I mean, is that part of some ceremony to make the bones holy or something? I mean, I don't understand. I don't understand the serial killer part of it. Right. I mean, is that just the crazy part of him? I mean, that he has to do this, and then he would, then point to his own crime. I mean, it's like I said, it's typical comic books in one sense, but at the same time, it's like, why would we do that?
Yeah. This is one where I thought I enjoyed it, but yeah, I think I'm kind of leaning toward you. If I really wanted to nitpick it, I could nitpick it, but I still had a fun time reading it.
Yeah, I mean, I did too. 'Cause like I said, to me, it feels like a traditional Batman story.
Right.
There's more detective work in it. It's not just a giant punch out, you kind of a thing.
I think if you had to compare it, like this story, and you look at the one Tomasi just did right before that 2-issue Justice League thing. This one, I think you kind of show, hey, this is why you can do like a 2-3 issue, real quick story, have a good time, and it'd be done good while still have its flaws. Versus the other one, where it's kind of
Yeah, right. That wasn't a good story. I didn't think. I enjoyed the art. I like the art quite a bit in it.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily how they draw his ears. They're verging on looking pointy like horns almost, like a black daredevil. But otherwise, I enjoyed that the story. So the next issue is R. Gordon at War. Is that a continuation of this story, or is that something?
I'm not sure. I didn't look too far past.
Yeah, I think this story's done.
Yeah.
But of course, this was issue 50, right? So it is $4.99 and has a backup story of sorts.
I was a little disappointed in we didn't get like the good quality paper, to be honest. Like the cardstock cover, I would have kind of hoped to have that. I mean, for the ones that are getting the 50 treatment, I don't think that's too much to ask for. But
sure. But I think this page is glow in the dark.
Oh, what's this, Mr. Phosphorus?
Hey, check this out. What? There's the original.
That's awesome.
There's the original. Detective issue number 469. I bought this for 5 cents when I was probably 8 or 9 years old at a yard sale, and I'm like, oh, that guy is badass looking. Anyway, so the two sides to this whole story, right? It's basically Batman. We find out telling Superman that he has the crazy villains. Superman holds nothing over him. His villains are way crazier. His average day in Gotham, makes Superman's look like a joke, and Superman's only reply is, well, I can talk like Bizarro, so. But I mean, the fun thing is that's what these all are. All these pages, they're all one-page splashes. They are reinterpretations of old Detective Comics covers.
Oh.
So I don't know. I thought it was kind of cool. I like some of them. I really like Fraser Irving's Batman. So I love this one too, just because I love how eerie, underwater, kind of a thing it was and whatnot. But that's kind of funny that they picked that Dr. Phosphorus one because I actually own that one. So it's like, wow, that's kind of cool.
I'll say it was visually appealing. It was good to look at.
Right. But was it worth your money? Is that the question here?
Yeah, I don't think it is.
They added an extra $1 for a little over half a dozen splash pages, right? So, yeah, it was okay. I probably would have been fine. We talked about this a little bit off air. I would have been fine paying the regular price and having it be a regular page count and just have the regular story, and it would have been cool. Other than I wouldn't get to show off my old Detective comic.
Fred, have you been following the tech run pretty much consistently? You've just been kind of on and off.
I've been on and off. I picked up, I think, 47 when they started this arc, and I'd been on and off before that.
Okay.
Cool. He probably was smart, and he got off with the layman run as it started to fall apart, right?
The last one I remember was I think it was the guy that was doing the same artwork for the Flash. He was doing the artwork for Detective when I left off.
Right. The Icarus, right? The Icarus something or other arc. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even know if I.
Nope.
issues.
Yeah, if you got all of them, yeah. I was hot and cold on that, so moments were cool and moments were. So.
I've been digging these Tyler Kirkman covers too.
Yeah.
I think he only did 2 so far. That's only 2, right?
I think so.
Yeah, yeah, they're awesome. They've been awesome. Only 2 of them.
Right. We'll see. Only a couple more issues, right, left.
Mm-hmm.
Then it starts its whatever that's going to be.
What number are we going? Are we literally picking up right for Black Mirror dropped off? Or are we going Black Mirror plus 52 number?
I would think plus 52.
Plus 52, so it's going to really, like my collection is going to look really weird.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, and I'm just worried, as we talked about double shipping, that almost guarantees that it keep the quality of paper as low as it is.
Yeah, probably.
Well, but DC's paper is still better off than
Marvel.
Oh, yes.
their competitors.
Paper, yes, that is true.
I don't know. I am curious. I'm curious as to. I'm still trying to work out in my head how does that business model work? It's staying at $2.99 and then putting out double the product. I can kind of wrap my head around where the money is going to come from, but not 100%. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what the sales are like and what the market share looks like and all that kind of stuff when that data starts rolling out. 4 months from the beginning of Rebirth. So, we hit Christmas time. What is it all going to look like? Is the real question, right? So,
I'm just really anxious to see the teams. The creative.
Yeah, the creators. Yeah, same here. To me, that's what it's all about, right? I mean, it used to be I'd pick up Detective regardless, and I'd suffer through whatever was not so good. But it coming out twice a month, it gets a lot harder to justify. For me, anyway, it gets a lot harder to justify comics when if I have to buy them twice a month as opposed to once. So, I don't know. I just keep telling myself I'm not going to worry about it until I actually see it and know what it's going to be. So.
Well, do you know would any of that affect on your service?
I'm sorry. What was that?
At all? Would any of that affect your discount on your service?
I don't know. Well, I don't know what kind of discount they're going to give me for it. I have no idea. If they're going to stick with a typical, my typical 40% that I get through Discount Comic Book Service for most DC and Marvel books, that would be the same. But it's still doubling up. I mean, that would be, if I collect the same number of titles, all my DC titles are still doubling up. So, but to tell you the truth, I haven't really looked at it, but I think over half of my DC titles are gone with the Rebirth. Right. The Manhunters, the Black Canaries, all that stuff just kind of goes away. So then if I'm losing 2 books and I'm only gonna jump on one of the double ships, I break even as far as the amount of money I'm paying. But I don't know what that's really gonna look like. So I don't know.
All right.
It'll be interesting. So what else we got DC wise?
Do you want to talk a little Catwoman?
Sure. Catwoman.
Man, did this have a ending like you just think the series is over? Or is it just me?
Well, it's definitely getting close, isn't it? There's no Catwoman in the Rebirth, right?
No, yeah, that's like they did the whole trading places. We're out on the beach, sipping drinks and.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. So I don't know what's next. I mean, are we gonna get 2? I don't know. Issues of cute, go steal something simply kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I didn't want this story to go on longer, but it felt abrupt too, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I wasn't expecting this thing to end here. I was like,
you're right. This issue just kind of like, okay, we're wrapping it up. We're good.
I mean, I'd say, the art was good. They did some pretty cool stuff with the panel layout. It was good. Nice to look at. It just, in the story even started good. I was like, okay, I got it. You had the Harley Quinn, Poison Ivy little cameo in there.
That was fun. I kind of liked that, them showing up to bail her out of prison and stuff. Yeah, I actually liked it clear up until I was even intrigued by who Mr. Blonde was.
Right.
You know, like, ooh, that's interesting. You know, we bring in a character who's not, you don't associate with Catwoman or, you know, her, what she tends to prowl around with at all. So that, to me, that was, you know, that was all interesting and everything.
Yeah, as soon as that, like, to me, it's like, as soon as that double cross with him happened, that's what was like, what? Like, holy cow.
Right. Then it's just kind of, then it was those kind of things that instead of telling us the rest of the story, it was kind of like a quick mop up. There was some, you know, not super heavy text boxes, but still text boxes just kind of saying, well, we're all done. This is what happened to the Penguin. This is, you know, what he suffered. This is what, you know, this is what this person suffered, and you know, the detective from New York, he gets his, you know, he gets his own due, you know, because he gets thrown in Blackgate and blah blah blah, you know, kind of a thing. And yeah, and then they're laying on the beach, giving us the wink at the very end, you know, which is, oh yeah, it's, you know, that's typical. I mean, that's typical Catwoman. I you know, actually, I think I enjoyed the story as a whole. It's just that the very end of it felt just very like, okay, we gotta hurry, we gotta be done, kind of thing. So let's just wrap it up and be done.
No, I did like the Black Mask.
Yeah, that was cool.
I did like that.
There's a backstory in this because, of course, it's another 50, you know, so it's got extra pages for the extra price. We get this little kind of a story about how they're at the Gotham Museum of Crime, and of course they have a black skull. They have a black skull in their museum, and of course the curator's talking about this black skull. It's kind of its history, how it's just turned up off and on through Gotham. You know, the Native Americans that lived in the area, one of them had it for a while, and you know, through colonial times, through it just keeps showing up throughout time, and of course it ends with Celine being, you know, looking like she's going to have a good time stealing it at some point. But you know, but it was cool. It was kind of cool to get that kind of this kind of alternate history for, you know, for the Black Mask, basically, kind of a thing. And the very last story was cute, I guess. It's basically Batman hires Catwoman to break into the Watchtower to figure out where their weaknesses are.
Test run our security. Yeah.
My question is, what Robin is this? What the hell Robin is that? That's not Damian, is it?
That's what I assumed it was, but it's definitely.
Well, it looks like Earth 2 Robin, or Earth B Robin is what it looks like. I shouldn't say Earth 2, I should say Earth B, because back in the day it was B, not 2. Does Damian wear green pants like that?
Oh.
I mean, that looks like...
That used to be Dick Grayson back in the... That's like the modern version of Dick Grayson.
Earth B.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like Young Justice Dick Grayson.
Okay, that also. But, of course, Superman's the New 52.
Yeah.
It just looks very random as far as that goes. So that really threw me off. Because, of course, she kind of gets one over on Robin. And I was trying to figure out which Robin was it. I don't know. It was really weird. I think it's Tim Drake.
Well, then she couldn't get the best of him.
Yes, that's the whole point. He's not as great as he thinks he is. I don't know. I just thought it was weird. That was a weird story because I was like, what Robin is this? That bugged me.
This one I kind of lumped with Detective. It was. I thought it was good. But I think you can nitpick it, but I thought it was good.
Yeah. Curious to see what they'll do for the next 2 issues, right? What the next 2 issues are going to be like for it.
I'm hoping they ended pretty good. So this is one where I don't know if it. I was kind of surprised this didn't make the Rebirth list, to be honest with you.
I think Catwoman's had a rough ride. The New 52 has been a rough ride for Catwoman, I think.
Oh, because Nocenti pretty much. That was rough, you know what I mean? And now I'm assuming the transition.
It started out rough because people didn't like the new take as far as her being the amped up, even more so over the top sexuality. You know, having Gilliam Marks draw those first few issues. If you're not a fan of his cheesecakey way of doing stuff, of course that offended people. So there was lots of, you know, roar against that. And then of course Judd decides he doesn't want to do it anymore, and they replace it with Anicetti, who was horrific on the book, in my non-professional opinion. And they had her on the book for a long time. I mean, she was on it for quite some time before then we got this interesting take on the character rolling out of Batman Eternal, which was great. I don't think enough people jumped on that, but yeah, I don't know. But who knows? Maybe she'll show up in the Birds of Prey. Can't imagine it. She's not a team player, but
yeah, she's.
The people have been floating Batwoman's name for the Birds of Prey book too, and that doesn't make sense to me either. God, no. As far as a team player type of thing. I mean, I'd love to see her someplace. Don't get me wrong. I have a hard time envisioning her, especially when it's Batgirl and the Birds of Prey. I just can't see. I can't see Kate taking orders or directions from Babs, especially not Burnside.
Yeah. Oh my lord.
Babs. I have a hard time. Those two ladies operate in completely different worlds, so whatever. What else we got? Anything else?
Fred, you got anything else?
Ninja Turtles Batman 3.
I'll talk about
4.
you. All right.
Sweet.
I thought this one was pretty good. Only thing was that whole emotional connection between Raph and Bruce. I didn't really buy it.
Yeah.
Like in Crime Alley, I feel like that was kind of forced in. But
yeah. Oh, Raphael. Yeah.
Yeah.
I you know what? I saw him going that way though. I was like, when Raph was saying like, yeah, you're nothing. We're the way they kind of became turtles. I was like, okay. Plus, you see it on the cover. You're just like waiting. I was like, okay, when are you gonna bring up Crime Alley? And you're like, sure enough.
But I did like the fact they brought back like the trench coat and hat and have him just walking around. Very much like the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And Casey Jones showing up is always nice. I've always liked him.
Yeah. I was a little worried in the beginning, and it's. I mean, I love the Joker. Don't get me wrong. I just thought we were gonna have a gratuitous Joker appearance.
Yeah.
Like, I think right now the way that the villains are set, it's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I like Raish and Shredder.
And I like that when the Shredder showed up, he like overpowered Penguin, and then got overpowered by Raish.
Mm-hmm.
But the who is it? Alfred Michelangelo trying to get along. I thought that was fun.
Oh yeah. He's walking around with those big stacks of pizza and. Yeah.
Like he's trying to skateboard through the mansion.
It goes into, again, this is kind of like one of those titles where it's like you just gotta just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Clearly, this is not one you want to take too seriously. You just kind of just roll with the punches on it, and then just kind of take it for what it is.
Like it's been quality so far. That's minor stuff for me at this point.
Oh yeah. I will say, man, I like how it ended. I'm kind of curious. This kind of goes back. Are we gonna have? Do we need the Joker in this one?
I did see somewhere. I don't know if it was promotional art or not, but it looked like it was something to do with the inmates breaking out of Arkham.
Yeah. That's the thing. They got the gas.
The ooze.
The what?
The ooze.
The ooze. They're the one that made the turtles. The turtles.
Yeah, I think they said.
Yeah. Yes, Raish and Splinter got these tubs of the gas. They're bringing it. That's the cliffhanger. They're going to Arkham. So.
Because the people in Arkham are crazy enough as it is. Let's have some gas too.
No.
And the only other good thing I think that came out of it is the confirmation of Morrison's Earth 1 is coming out for Wonder Woman. Like that's finally happening.
Right. Definitely be getting that book when it comes out. That should be pretty soon. I saw the artist tweeting. Tweeting a couple days ago. He had his copies.
It says April 2016.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, so gonna be getting that. That'll be interesting to read. See what his take is on Wonder Woman. So, right on.
Anyone else got any more DC stuff?
Got Constantine.
Constantine, yes.
So this issue, a art by Travel Foreman, who always is an experience because he has definitely his own style of doing comics, and I would say it's not traditionally superhero-ish in its orientation. We go to Fairy.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah. And
Poor
Fairy
you.
is not someplace you want to go. It's not. Well, it's unicorns and butterflies, but the fairies themselves are like
Yeah.
pure chaos. They just want to feel and experience. That's their entire thing, and they're going to do whatever it takes to continue to I don't know, heighten their experiences. I mean, there's great visuals of them.
Oh yeah.
This unicorn. It starts out with talking about fairyland. Yeah,
Yeah.
Michael, show. Yeah, it's Pegasus with the unicorn horn. It's leaning down to drink the tranquil water. You think, oh yeah, fairyland's gonna be all cute. No, some fairies go launching up out of the water and slit the unicorn's throat. It bleeds gouts of rainbow, and then they bathe
Yeah. They're like,
dance and frolic like a porno shower scene in the unicorn's blood. And yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
As far as that goes. So basically, Constantine comments on the fact that basically even hell is afraid of Fairyland. He's like, basically, yeah, he was in a bar once, drinking with some demons, and he's like, joking with the demons about what's the worst place, and they're like, dude, you think it's hell? No, hell is horrible, but it's constant. You know the rules. This is how it's going to operate, and then there's this whole other place called Fairy, and that's where Constantine is at because he's trying to get out of hell to get back to Earth. And the sneaky gate that he goes through has dropped him into Fairyland, which I was expecting that to be a lot crazier than what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, it was. I mean, they show us some crazy stuff. It was fun. But he quickly tricks his way out of...
Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to come back to bite him in the ass, though.
Oh,
So basically, he tricks a little fairy into taking him back to Earth because he can show him the most incredible experience he's ever had in his life. He's never experienced anything like it before. And the fairy's like, oh, okay. He takes him, and then Constantine punches him out. Just, knocks him out cold and walks off. Going, oh, he'll wake up and he'll forget about it.
That would be the only thing I thought is just being basically the first half of the book is just pumping up, how, doom and gloom and powerful and miserable, fairies are, and then one just gets suckered in like that just by just taking him for its word. It's like, okay, but I mean, I get it. I just thought that was...
So, like I said, the Fairyland was fun, but you kind of wonder, is that all there is, or are we going to get more of it? But yeah, and of course then he gets back to Earth, and he has to kind of deal with the reality of Oliver, the would-be boyfriend. The would-be boyfriend has a family, has little kids, and we go, to some degree, we fall back into stereotypical post-New 52 Constantine, where he spends an awful lot of time worrying about the head count that's around him, the death toll of the people that are friends with him. And I almost find that annoying at this point that because John isn't a loner. He operates around his friends. I mean, part of the long-term history of the character is, yes, he's had quite a few friends, die or worse around him. But I don't know. I mean, I get his concern in this issue in the fact that hell is kind of very quick. I mean, yeah, hell is very quickly going to take over New York, and he kind of wants, Oliver, and he's got Oliver has two little girls. His boyfriend has two little girls. He wants to get them out of town. But to me, they almost feel like they're playing that a little too heavy-handed. The whole, I can't have any friends, I can't have any relationships because everybody around me gets killed. Because, like I said, to me, John just isn't that much of a loner. He has to have people around him to function, in some sense. So I don't know. I'm enjoying this, but I guess I don't have to worry about it because the New 52 is going to hit, and I can't remember.
It's on there.
Oh, it is on. It is on. So I hope they don't keep just hammering on the I can't have friends because my friends all end up dead thing. That can't be the only storyline. You know what I mean? Because it kind of has been since the very beginning. I mean, the first, we had the ex-girlfriend, spirit thing show up, so we hammer home that, he can't have friends. Then he gets this lover slash boyfriend, and we're still hammering. I don't know. I want there to be a little more than that, I guess. But I had fun. I had fun with it.
Oh yeah, and I thought that was kind of, not gonna say drawn out, but that was long. That whole quasi breakup sort of. You have kids. That was like
Right.
what? That was about a good 4 or 6 pages.
Right.
Right.
And of
Are
course,
you my dad's new boyfriend? Oh,
Yeah.
see ya.
And of course, it ends. With the horrible cliffhanger with the babysitter, which.
Yeah. That's the girl that got duped before he went to Fairyland, right?
Yes.
Or Fairy.
Yeah.
Fairy.
That's the same, and that's the same lady that he duped in the very first issue with the whole 7 levels and sent her back to hell thing. So yeah, she's got a probably at this point a pretty big axe to grind with Constantine. So if you think by now she'd figure out to quit Clash with him, she keeps losing. You'd think at some point you'd go, oh, this ain't worth it, but yeah. I'm reading the comments, and I'm not sure I understand the. Christina's asking me, says, but Travis, but didn't Bunn do that with Magneto? And I'm not sure if she's referring to the fact that Magneto couldn't have friends. Is that what we're talking about? And I guess in some ways it's the same. I don't know. I liked Magneto better. It didn't wear on me there for some reason. So. Yeah. Anyway, any other DC books you want to talk about?
Yeah, I got a couple. I'll run through real quick. Batman: Ron Eternal, issue number 23. We got 3 more after this, 24, 25, 26. Midnighter makes an appearance in this.
Oh, nice.
Holy crap, Stephanie Brown's still in the series. She makes her appearance.
What?
And it's like real, like, go check out this person, or Scarecrow. Go check on Scarecrow. So it's, if I had to really nitpick anything in this series, it's really Stephanie Brown really got the hose in this, because she was pretty good main appearances in the first couple issues, and then as soon as they left, she was just like, see ya. But yeah, this is pretty much the mother got her attacking the world, got all these young kids, attacking adults, and they got the way ahead to go after these 5 sites that are going to eliminate the mother's signal to the world's kids, I guess. So it's really going to set up the way how things are going to end. Midnighter was typically Midnighter in this. It's pretty cool, but and then you see, really this is going to involve a lot of other people. Catwoman's going to be involved in this. Batgirl, Batwoman, she's going to, in the finale, I'm sure there's going to be cameos here and there, but
sure.
They're all saying they're on board. You don't see them, but Dick's talking to them. Hey, she's on board. She's got it. She's going there. So it's just setting up. It wasn't bad, and it's coming to a close, and see how it goes. So, art inside was good. I like the art inside. Genevieve Valentine wrote it. She's been really good in the series. So, which is I hope they really. I don't know what she's going to be doing anything for DC, but hopefully she gets picked up after Rebirth to do some stuff. But I enjoy her stuff.
Yeah, no doubt.
Let's see, Batman Superman closes up Tom Taylor's short little story on this. It was good. It's nothing. This is not like an epic thing. Almost, I'm not gonna say had like an Injustice feel. It sort of does, but obviously Superman not being bad. But I liked how it ended. Lobo kind of got the screw job in this, which not really a Lobo fan, so I was like, yeah, whatever. But
yeah,
the way it ended with the old man that's like sort of from Krypton, it was nice. How it kind of ended out. So, and then this is getting canceled. Batman Superman. So we only got a couple more issues. I don't know who's gonna
Yeah, but it'll be like Trinity or something like that.
Yeah,
I
Trinity.
mean,
yeah.
we're gonna get to see Batman and Superman interact with each other going
Yeah,
forward.
I think you have the Superman, Wonder Woman books going away. Yeah, yes. Yeah. But anyway, I just don't know how see how they're gonna wrap up the last 2 issues and see how it goes. Red Hood and Arsenal. Not bad. Not bad. It's Lobdell, he has his quirks. As long as you don't do his little quirky stuff he does, his stuff you can tolerate it. And he did kind of stay away from the shenanigans that he does. It makes you just go, oh my lord. But like in this, Joker's daughter, I mean, she's pretty much throughout the issue, she just first I thought it was Harley Quinn, but I saw the color of the hair. But basically, the organization that hired um, Jason and Roy in that first job, they're kind of going back to her again, and they really don't want to get involved with him again because Joker's daughter, like, hey, she's crazy. We don't have nothing to do with her. So basically, a lot of the issues is her being examined. It's basically to find out if she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. She won't have the mask on. So I'm not going to ruin it, but she does kind of fool everyone, which I thought was pretty decent. She does get the mask at the end. And the job that Roy and Jason have in there was pretty good aboard the Navy vessel, which I thought was pretty cool. But Jason felt like Jason, so that didn't get butchered. So it's not bad. And the art, I enjoyed the art inside. So we're going to Red Hood and the Outlaws. Rebirth. I don't know who. I don't think she's long term. I don't think this would. If she's the permanent outlaw, I would be like, oh no. I do not like that character at all. Let's see, real quick.
I'm sure the right person could do something really cool with that character.
But it's like the damage has been done.
Yeah, it's an uphill battle. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, Telos. This wrapped it up. Disappointing ending. The issue 1 was really on track to do what he needed to do to find his family, and he ends up getting double-crossed by Parallax, and he's all by his lumps on a planet by himself. Poor Telos. So, the only reason I checked this out is I went through Convergence, and I do like Telos' character, but I think this one was... I wouldn't recommend a trade thing. And lastly, Earth 2 Society. This was a pretty good chunk of Dick Grayson Batman in this, which I thought was okay. And this one, it had an interesting feel to it, because basically what's going on is you see there's kind of two, it almost has like a Walking Dead kind of feel to it, to a degree. And that there's basically 2 kind of themes they're going out of this. First off, it's, do they want this, because basically there's the central group, which is like Green Lantern and Superman. Do they want, for lack of a better term, metahumans playing such a predominant role in the society? And you're starting to see a split where some people want kind of like a free society, some want, be led by the metahumans, and Superman just goes, hey, you know what, I'm out. I'm not doing this whole thing anymore. So it's kind of like got this elite society kind of forging how they want society to go, which I thought was pretty cool. Then they got this other way where basically people are just scrounging for resources, like, power. I mean, how you got one person has monopoly power. That's where Dick Grayson does his bad with this guy who has a way basically, but if it keeps going down the path he's basically going to control all the power, like electrical power. So basically how society going to thrive. So it's interesting when it hits those type of themes. The art's okay. It's just, at some point I was waiting for the society just to be established and let's just go.
Right. Right.
I mean, it works for Walking Dead because that's just, I think it's, a lot of that is just, how people react to each other in the circumstances.
Sure.
I don't know if they're trying to take that type of approach to this, I don't think it's going to work. So.
Yeah.
But,
Now, that's a book that's going on in Rebirth too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be Earth 2 Society. I think it's
Oh,
going to
that's
be
right.
something. So maybe what I'm basically wanting is going to be Rebirth. You know?
Yeah, they just need to make a Justice Society book and quit screwing around.
Mm.
Go back to the old stuff, I guess. So in the comments, there's a bit of a conversation going on about John Constantine. More specifically, they're talking about Hellblazer, which I don't want to compare with what we're reading. They're two different sorts of things, in my opinion, other than character name to a large degree. And I would love to sit around and have a long conversation about everything Hellblazer and John Constantine and all that kind of stuff, because I could suck up a lot of time in a conversation around that, around like Gorbadella's comment on the fact that he feels like that his sense is that John is fine with being alone, but has the consciousness that bears responsibility for his part in the death of his friends. Yes and no, because there's huge arcs in the Hellblazer run that have to do with him trying to get a girlfriend and maintain a girlfriend and maintain the love of his life and all the screwed up shit that goes around that. So I don't know about that. But back to Christina's thing where she's commenting on the Magneto, that because I want to talk about that, and then if people don't see the comments, they aren't going to know what's going on. Magneto spent the whole time questioning whether or not he was good or evil, how his intentions could be perceived, and that was the constant struggle in the book, which I agree 100% that way. And maybe Christina's right in the fact is that's going to be the struggle that's all the way through the Constantine book. That's his struggle. That's the kind of the main theme across the book, which I guess is fine if it is. That doesn't interest me a whole lot, I guess is what I'm saying, as far as. And then she also brings up the point that it's a book that's written by the Fourth, and maybe ultimately that's my issue with it. There's just something about it that doesn't quite land it at the end of the day for me, and that may be why. I always kind of don't think about that book being him, because it's also Ming Girls, right? And I don't know who writes what, who influences who on how that works out, but that may be an aspect of it, because I'm not always necessarily the biggest fan of that stuff. So fair enough. So DC news, anything?
Before we go news, I'm gonna have a sidebar with you. I'm gonna first throw it up to Fred and Mike to see if they have anything else DC wise.
No books.
Okay. I was really excited to have this conversation last week.
And then you couldn't show up.
And then I didn't show up, and then there was the Twitter
Oh, good God.
explosion from the past 48 hours. So without going down a rabbit hole we just do not want to go down.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's talk, because that was a really good, interesting topic.
So the whole of what we're talking about is, of course, we talked about last week. Also, more just me talking to myself than anything, because Mike hasn't been reading it and doesn't care, which is a smart attitude to take. The whole Batgirl issue 49, whether or not they retconned out the Killing Joke back out of continuity, and that whole. I was attempting by myself to have a conversation of, so what does that really mean? Did they really do it? Is it left up to interpretation as to if you want to say it's there, it's there. If you don't want to say it's there, it's not there. Does it matter? And then the further conversation I kind of wanted to have, and I kind of wanted to have with Christina too, was the whole how they treat Joker and how they treat Batgirl and Babs' relationship with Joker, and the fandom how it treats that relationship with Joker versus the relationship that Harley Quinn has with Joker, and how in the last couple issues it seems like both sets of creators are attempting to distance themselves from that connection.
And I think why you see it, I think somewhat success, and this is just my opinion,
Sure.
from someone who reads both. Why I think you might see it more successfully done, and some I see, dare I say, realistic comics. It's
right. As much as we can use that. Yeah.
Whereas Harley takes what her prior interactions with Joker, and rather than just saying, you know what, it didn't happen, just we're gonna swipe it under the rug, it didn't happen.
Right.
Hey, you know what, it did happen, but you know what, I'm a better person now. I don't need you. That's basically where came that last issue comes in. Where I'm a better. I don't need you to be Harley Quinn.
Mhm.
The prior history, rather than say it didn't happen, and just evolve as a character and become a better character of it. Whereas I somewhat have an issue with Batgirl. It's just like, oh, it didn't happen. Don't look over into the right hand over here. Just keep looking this way. This is the Batgirl you know here. Don't. We're just trying. No, don't look over there. Don't look at the Killing Joke. No.
Even
That's
though
why.
I
Go
just
ahead,
finished the first volume of Gail Simone's when she redid it for New 52, and like the whole plot line for that first volume is Babs getting over her fear of guns because of what the Joker did.
Right.
So like that completely invalidates that entire storyline.
Well, there's a whole bunch of stuff that kind of falls apart. If we really truly want to say that, like I said, I talked about this last week. If you really want to, there is that whole story arc, the whole beginning of the New 52. Then there's also the fact that even in this Burnside Batgirl, as people refer to her now, the Burnside Batgirl, even this, her history is tied into that, in the sense that if she how did she end up paralyzed? How did she end up in rehab to meet Frankie, for the whole Frankie relationship to happen? I mean, there's just you pull the pin on that and everything starts falling apart. Kind of a thing. If they're going to actually pull that back out of continuity, and up front, I don't care if they do or not. It absolutely does not matter to me. I like the Killing Joke for what it was. I don't need to have it to in my brain for Batgirl to function.
And that's another thing. I know we were talking about that too on Friday.
She functions just fine without it, but they've tied it into the continuity heavy enough now that when you take it away, they need to explain a bunch of other stuff. That, I mean, all of that is just kind of was all nightmare planted kind of a stuff, which is you could say that. I think it's cheap. I mean, I think it's the same as running 2 or 3 years worth of Spider-Man comics and then just saying, oh, it was clones and a bad dream. I mean, you can either roll with it and go, yeah, that's comic books, or you kind of go, and I don't even think you have to be a continuity snob to kind of go, that's kind of a really cheap-ass way of rewriting the story. But I guess it does. I mean, I don't know. I still have the opinion it doesn't. I don't know that it matters. I don't know that I have to have that to have what's going on in Batgirl now. If it's going to make somebody happy to remove that from Batgirl so she doesn't have that stain, so it's not a dark thing that she's continuing to have to drag around with, fine, I get it for this new style of Batgirl they want to operate with. That's fine. If that, I think, like I said, I think if that's what you want, that's fine. It works for her moving forward. You just don't question that stuff that was there. And if you're somebody who's hard and fast about the fact that the Killing Joke was there and she experienced all of that and somehow she came back from being paralyzed and became Batgirl, that's probably fine too. You probably aren't reading Batgirl now, though. And if you are, you're probably not enjoying it a whole lot, is kind of my opinion. If you heavily embrace the Killing Joke and that stuff, I don't see how you're loving the current run of Batgirl, because they are so different from each other. I don't know.
And I have to say this because I defend the Killing Joke, but with some caveats.
Sure.
Okay, for those who haven't read the Killing Joke, please don't go into it thinking that 85% of it deals with Barbara Gordon.
It doesn't.
Barbara Gordon's portion of that story is very minute. It's impactful, don't get me wrong, but it's very minute. So when I say I defend the Killing Joke, I'm looking at the broad story. I think it's a good story in a character study between Batman and Joker, and the whole what can happen if one person has a bad day, even the best person. So when I say I defend Killing Joke, I'm not saying
right.
What happened to Babs. That was cool. Absolutely not. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
But this goes back to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You know, I mean, you're right. Well, the thing is, with the Killing Joke, I can't believe I've talked about this again. I swear. But the thing is, the Killing Joke is, in the Killing Joke, Babs is nothing more than an object, really. Barbara Gordon is an object. She is a object that the Joker goes after to screw with somebody else. It has nothing to do with her. And when Alan Moore wrote the story, he had no intentions, zero intentions of this moving Barbara Gordon to the character that most people think is awesome now. That was never his intention. His intention wasn't to destroy her spine, paralyze her, so then they could write this great story of her, coming through that, using her brain, becoming Oracle, and all the great stuff that did come after that. It had nothing to do with Alan Moore. I mean, and so it drives me crazy, I guess, when people want to celebrate, and I think it's a false celebration, celebrate the idea that the Killing Joke is what made Barbara Gordon awesome. Because it's not. It's not. Some great creators took a horrible thing they did to the character and decide, you know what, we always thought this was a great character, we should do something with her, and they worked hard to make her into something cool.
Right.
But that was never Alan Moore's intention. It was never DC's intention. It was never the editor's intention. They did not care.
Like you throw a pebble in the water, and then the ripples, the bigger ripples, the outside ripples actually have.
But I'm just saying. So the people who take the Killing Joke and are freaked out because maybe it's pulled out of continuity. Quite frankly, it was never really intended to be part of continuity in the first place. People just started digging it enough that then it kind of got folded into continuity.
Right.
Which is great. I mean, that's fine. That's awesome that a fringe book becomes part of something because people loved it so much and whatnot. But how does that retconning it out? How does it wreck the Batgirl now? How does it wreck the stories that we've already read? If you like those Oracle stories and whatnot, how does it wreck those?
Well, I don't think it wrecks it. It goes into, if you're a completionist, and this is the rabbit hole I know I really didn't want to get down to. It's, if you're going to do that, I mean, a lot of stuff with the Oracle, I think at some point you have to come with, I'm not saying you don't have to, but how do you explain her coming into a wheelchair? You just have a reasonable substitute for the origin of the wheelchair?
Sure, she got in a car crash.
Okay, and then hey, there you go. That's
I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? It
something you just have to explain.
Granted, we still have another issue that's still dealing with the subject matter, with the whole fugue villain and what he's doing to her. That they may actually answer it further.
Right. But just go back.
And really, to me, that's a page of what ifs. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's a big giant ass page of what ifs.
I mean, she's like a teenager, early 20-year-old running around in a costume fighting supervillains. You have a plethora of opportunities to say how she got hurt.
Right. I mean, so for me, it's I don't know. Like I said, I understand the love of the Killing Joke, but Luke, why you're saying you love the Killing Joke has zero to do with Batgirl, though.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
I just take it. It's such a minute point. Kind of like you're saying. She was literally a means to the end for the Joker to get to Batman.
But I guess there's a segment of fandom and a segment of creators who find the treatment of Babs in that offensive and want to get rid of it because it's offensive. And as comics evolve, as characters evolve, as stories evolve, is that not okay to change the direction that a character goes or is or whatever? And part of that change is sponging stuff that happened prior to it?
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm sure we could go through comic book history and find a lot of characters that they've completely done 180s on and kind of flown in the face of continuity.
I don't know, just to kind of bring this full circle. That's just why I think Harley is a little more successful. That's what I kind of talked about. It's just, I think I know it's touchy. Maybe you could just take it and just run with it. I mean, it was a horrible experience, and how does it make the person better? And it doesn't mean it needs to be necessary, but it's you don't need to. It didn't happen. I don't know, but that's where I think Harley does a great job.
Yeah.
They don't hide that fact, especially that
Right.
last issue. That is not hidden. She
Right.
basically treated me like crap, and you know what?
No more pudding.
No more pudding.
I'm gonna turn you into pudding. Yeah. So just to touch on, because Christina's not here, I will read verbatim what she said, because the other part of the whole Harley Quinn thing that I was talking about is what she doesn't understand is why people make such a fuss about the Batgirl history and not Harley's. Harley's relationship with the Joker is just as bad, if not worse.
Yeah.
Like I said last week, the Batgirl 49 seems to be more like the creators are pandering to a certain part of the fan base. Harley distances herself from Joker, from Gotham in general, in what Connor and Pomelatti's based their run on. Harley, time and time again, is depicted as a victim. No outrage. Batgirl assaulted by the Joker. That's problematic. She just doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Which, definitely. I mean, it is curious. It is curious where. But I know, Christina. I know lots of people that are part of this Batgirl current fan base who do not like the Harley Quinn comic and do not like the character Harley Quinn because of that. Because she comes from, because it feels like to some degree there's this celebration of the Joker Harley Quinn relationship, which clearly is, I think, unhealthy and abusive in a number of ways. And I think that's why a lot of people don't even read the book, or don't, that group don't celebrate that. I mean, I have problems with Harley Quinn.
Do you think it's some of the...
I'm glad in the story that they are finally she's, decided enough's enough and is, walking away from the abusive boyfriend kind of thing. It's one of the things I kind of liked about, because they've been talking about Gotham City Sirens in the comments, which was a fun Paul Dini run that a few years ago and stuff. And in that they dance around that too. But the fact that really Ivy and to some degree Catwoman are both trying to keep Harley from going back to that knucklehead, because he is abusive, because he is all this stuff. You can have a good life without having to have that man in your life. I mean, and I enjoyed those stories because they were trying to move her away from being this, weird punching bag for. At any rate, I don't know. It's interesting stuff. For me, I'm not so invested in the Batgirl stuff that it matters to you one another. To me, it's more of a curiosity. I mean, like I said, I'm okay with them retconning it. Write it so it's cool or makes sense, and that's fine with me. That's why I picked up 49, because I had heard they had supposedly completely expunged it. The people I was reading that from were people who are serious advocates that they absolutely hate the Killing Joke, hate everything about it. The only thing they can see the Killing Joke for is what happened to Barbara Gordon. So clearly they're way over here on this spectrum of their opinion of it. And then there's those dude bros that are way over this spectrum of it, who of course think it's awesome what happened to Batgirl and that, which makes no sense to me either. So I got it for myself to read it, and to me, it's very cloudy.
It's an implication.
You can read those tea leaves of that page however you want to. I'm of the opinion I'm going to wait to see I'm not going to read it probably unless somebody says a whole lot about it. I'm going to wait to hear what Luke has to say about issue number 50, because I'm curious to see if they touch it anymore. If they touch the nightmares and whatnot, or if they're just done. She's figured out how to beat him, and this next issue she's going to beat him up, and that's going to be the end. I kind of have the feeling by looking at the solicitations that's what's going to happen. Is next issue they're not going to talk about it at all. It's just going to be left all wishy-washy. They're going to beat up the fugue, and then the next 2 issues they'll spin their wheels until the rebirth starts.
And then 2 months, the Killing Joke animated movie comes out, and
which is crazy, right? No, Christina, I did not. Christina's asking me if I picked up Harley Quinn number 25, and I didn't. I didn't get a chance to pick it up, so I'm not sure exactly what, for my own interpretation of what's there. But listening to you guys talk about, I get a sense of what it is and whatnot. So it is interesting. I mean, I think Christina brings up an interesting question as to how come the fan base is the relationship Batgirl and the Joker gets treated so much differently than
Absolutely.
Harley Quinn.
And not even just the interaction between Joker and Harley Quinn. Not in Harley Quinn's book. Go in
Right.
like other books, like Batman and the Death of the Family. Those tie-ins. Oh my lord, did she get it?
Yeah.
Those,
Oh, yeah.
Good point.
Interesting stuff. Any rate, news? Do we have any news?
Yeah.
I hope to not have to talk about that conversation for a while now, because what people don't know is all afternoon my phone was going off like crazy because somebody came on, because we had kind of talked about it on Twitter a little bit. Somebody came on Twitter and kind of went off the deep end of that me, Comics to Comics, and Brandon McHammer, that somehow we hated disabled people because we were questioning whether or not there was a reason to why people were so upset over the whole retconning of the Killing Joke or not. And so yeah, it was kind of strange. So a bit fatigued by the. Not that this was a great conversation, because this wasn't people just kind of throwing stupid stuff, but yeah, it's fun. Anyway, Mike, you were saying?
Let's get on to more Joker controversy.
Yes.
In Gotham, they are going to have our former Tank Girl. I can't think what her name is right offhand. Is going to be up and be a variation of Joker. Gotham has been playing around with the idea that Joker may almost be a virus or a mental infection that other people can share. So anybody.
Oh yeah,
I missed that last piece. What was that?
Oh, it'd be like a mentis or a virus that, like, as Rome died, anybody can start to become Joker. So that's what they're kind of introducing.
Huh.
Kind of like when they had the Red Hood going around making everybody crazy.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I guess I don't have a problem with that, because that show is so far. I mean, it's so its own alternate reality of how it's addressing everything that I just think it's. I'll roll with it. I'm behind on watching that, but that show I just kind of watch it and roll with it, because clearly it's not. They throw little Easter eggs in, but most of it is so far outside of what we who read the comics understand those characters or anything, or the timelines and all that stuff to be, that I don't know. It kind of takes away from the Joker, in my opinion, as far as what the Joker kind of is in the comic, but I can see where that makes sense for the TV show.
Speaking about Gotham, well, in the movie, Batman, or on the Batman series, it looks like himself, J.K. Simmons, will be Gordon.
Yes.
Right. Right. And he was what's his face from the Bugle,
J.
right?
Jonah
J.
Jameson.
Yeah.
JJ.
More recently from Whiplash. So if you've watched that movie, woo! That's quite a departure from how the intense drum instructor to that. Okay, here's my thing about it. My first thought was, because I don't know that I care until I see them and whatever, they'll figure it out. Why is Gordon in a Justice League movie? Yeah, exactly. I don't know. For me, when I think Justice League, I think big, grand. You're up in the Watchtower. Aliens are coming, or Amazo is showing up and is just wrecking everything, or Darkseid's come. Something huge, on a scale that a commissioner of a town, I don't care what town it is, what city it is gonna have nothing to do with it. So that to me was weird. I don't know, it just seems weird that there'd be. Unless it's gonna be one of those quick cameos. Batman standing on the roof next to the light, having a conversation with Jim Gordon, and then he's got to rush off because whatever's happening is happening, right?
He's gonna come up and be like, "I am Gordon." Dum bum 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 bum.
No, they're gonna put him in the bat suit. They're gonna put him in the bat robot.
Oh, the mecha.
I would pay money for that show.
Oh my gosh! Wow.
The Flash Supergirl crossover will be March 28th, if anybody's interested in that.
Yep, come right up.
Supergirl was renewed for a second season, and it looks like they'll be bringing in a couple more of her supporting cast from her actual comic in the next season.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. That show's been enjoyable. I know there's people who don't like it and whatnot. My 15-year-old daughter loves it to pieces, and I love watching it with her. I think it's fun. I mean, it's not like it's any seriously deep thing and whatnot, but I'm a sucker for Supergirl's smile, if nothing else. She's just the actress that plays her makes her really charming and fun. So, and Martian Manhunter's in it. How bad can it be, right?
They're going to do an origin story on him also.
Oh, cool.
And I'm just wondering, will they go with the original, or are they going to play with that too? So it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Well, it's somewhat different, now. I mean, because he works the government, and I don't think the character ever did really, any of the history of Martian Manhunter that I know, he didn't. So, yeah.
I don't watch the show, but have they addressed like his Oreo addiction yet, or did they not do that?
No, they haven't done that. They don't. Yeah, they don't show the character that much of a capacity, or at least up to the point. I'm behind on episodes, but up to the point that I've watched it, they have not. They don't really show much of him outside of, her coming to the government agency, whatever it's called, the DEO or whatever the heck it's called, and she's briefly there for debriefings, a scolding, and then she goes off to do whatever of her superhero she has to do and whatnot. He is Martian Manhunter, but they haven't used him a ton that I've seen of it. So that would be awesome if they put that in, though.
Because I remember when he shows up in Smallville, the first thing you see is like he drops an Oreo when he leaves. So I don't know if they do that again.
No, haven't seen that yet. They haven't tipped their hat back to that. Other DC type news, if people care, of course, Jenna Malone, who was going to be in the Batman Superman movie, they pulled her part out of it. They cut her part out, and people speculated as to what that was. Supposedly, rumor has from what Brand's saying, and I also read some stuff too, that she was supposed to be playing Barbara Gordon. Maybe not Batgirl, because the director said at one point there was no Batgirl, but maybe they were setting that up. So I don't know what that's going to be. So. Oh, but her part will be in the rated R version, the home version. Hopefully those two things don't correlate with each other.
Good.
That's all I'm saying. Hopefully, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, because that would be that'll just that'll be all kinds of
bring the argument back.
That'll be all kinds of. I'll be here having that conversation all over again. Damn it! Oh, and the other thing, of course, Gotham Academy. I was thinking, I can't remember what it was. Gotham Academy and Lumberjanes are doing a crossover because I was thinking that DC was doing another crossover with another company. So that's Boom Studio and DC did a crossover. That's kind of cool. I mean, I've read some Gotham Academy. I've read some Lumberjanes. That would be kind of a fun. If the Gotham kids go out camping for class and whatnot, and they're going to hook up with the Lumberjanes, that could be some fun. It's really interesting that DC is deciding to do as much of this as they are, as far as like the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. The Star Trek and Green Lantern. Yeah. Not for me necessarily, but I think that's pretty cool. I still doubt that we'll ever see another Marvel. DC team up book with the parent companies being what they are. I can't imagine, but yeah, I don't know.
Wait
cool.
For that Superman Hellboy crossover.
That would be interesting. I could see a Batman Hellboy crossover. I have a hard time with it. I mean, they deal in magic and stuff like that, which kind of screws Superman, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'd be all for watching Hellboy punch him in the face, though, knock him halfway across the planet. Yeah, cool. Anything else? He's always spent over an hour talking about 4 DC books or something like that. Awesome. Right on, let's roll on to Marvel, shall we? What do we got for Marvel books? It's a good week for me in Marvel books.
Let's get strange.
Okay. Doctor Strange.
So, Fred, what did you think about it?
This is my first time reading Strange. Like, I've read this entire series so far, but like, this is my first real introduction to him, and I'm loving this book. And like, as serious as this new villain is, like, when the bushes start attacking, like, that was probably one of my favorite panels.
The shrubbery.
Yeah, like I've read Aaron's stuff before. I've read a bunch of his stuff, but this is probably like the best mix of humor with action I've seen him do.
Yeah. It's. I mean, the book last issue just ratcheted up as far as going from being kind of this hint of seriousness, but being just kind of fun, and now it's just full on crazy as the science people are going to town on this place. They clearly know who he is. They're focused on him, and man, the art is brilliant in it. Just the different kind of styles they use through it, I really like. I like it where they keep bouncing back to the other places where the magic is disappearing. So you get these kind of quick cameos of just different characters across the Marvel Universe who use magic in different places. From Scarlet Witch to the Shaman, and there's just nothing about this book I don't like. I find it really interesting when he taps clear down into the core of magic and becomes this big giant, lava, the lava and rock creature there that's gonna smash this guy, and he just keeps pounding and pounding until he can't pound anymore, and he hopes that's enough, as he basically blows himself out, cranking magic, and it clearly is not enough. I like I said, the art is just amazing, and I love the style that's used. It's very, very dynamic. The villain characters are interesting to look at with their big, robotic speared head kind of things and stuff. They just, to me, kind of scream Kirby-esque in a way. Not the way they're drawn, but just the design of them feels very Kirby-esque to me. I love that.
Well, and I think with all the different kinds of magic that where he pulls in the depression, and
Right.
they're talking about there's a guy with and people contemplating their life, and he uses that as the power for his magic, and then dumps it on these bad guys. I thought that was kind of
Yeah. Well, yeah, and the main guy's like, you're dumping despair on me. This is my life. This is what I had to go through. This is nothing. But I love all the robots staggering around. Not basically not able to contemplate the fact that they do suffer from the despair and whatnot. Yeah. No, like I said, I really I really enjoyed it.
And
I have questions though. So this ends with, of course, a be continued. It looks all bad and everything, and then we get these extra pages past what would typically be the letters page. We get these extra pages of these kind of 1 or 2 page little stories of magic winking out, and of course, a bunch of us were all over the place going, "Oh, they didn't credit the creators on this. Shame on them." Well, they did if you read the fine print. I didn't read the fine print on this first page because I thought it was just the editors yammering on, so I decided I wasn't going to read that. And I love these little stories at the end. But my question is, there's the Doctor Strange book. Is there actually another book? Is there actually a book that's called The Last Days of Magic? Or is it just the Doctor Strange book telling the Last Days of Magic storyline?
Yeah, that's what I believe.
So it's not a separate book? Because I thought I saw an ad.
I don't think so. I think I saw there was another cover when I went up to buy it. There was this one, and then there was another cover. So that's what confused me originally.
Yeah, on the last page, it says Doctor Strange Last Days of Magic #1 and Strange 7 coming out next month.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right. See, I knew there was someplace I saw that. Yeah, this last page. So I'm a bit worried because I don't think I ordered the Doctor Strange Last Days of Magic.
And will Aaron be writing both of those, or will he just have one title?
I don't know. I would hope he's doing both if this is going to affect... Now I'm going to have to go and look. Yeah, see, everybody's saying there's a Last Days of Magic book.
Right. What's magic telling the same story also in Doctor Strange? I don't understand that.
It's Marvel.
It might just be the side stories like we were getting at the end.
So and that's the other thing, the front stand, and I wonder that too. I wonder if that's just going to give you more, details on something, but the main story is going to stay in Doctor Strange. But if you want to, you can read this other thing to get the unabridged version of the story. I don't know.
I will buy it, and then I will just show it page by page to you, Travis, over the...
Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to have to venture to the chain store, because I'm pretty sure I did not order that, because I try to stick to my I'm not venturing off into spin-offs kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know. I like some of the art. These people, they had to do some of the art in the very back. I'm going to have to read the... I still haven't read the fine print, so I'm going to have to do that to...
There's the one page where they talk about like all the magicians and stuff dying, and they make fun of Aladdin and Harry Potter right next to each other.
Yeah.
And I thought that was incredibly clever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some great stuff in it. This first page, I absolutely love that art. That to me, that I don't know, it's got an older look and an older style to it, the way it's inked and whatnot. And man. I can read a whole book of that stuff.
Well, since you're saying that, I mean, the person who did that work, if it's the same artist, it reminded me of the New Avengers, the entities had somebody who was doing their artwork, so I'll have to dig that up, see if I can't find it.
Mike De Dota?
Del Mundo?
I'm assuming?
Yeah.
Is that first artist?
Yes, that would be the first one.
Okay.
So.
Okay, I'm out. I'm not doing Days of Magic, the Last Days of Magic. Christina just put in the comments that Deadpool has a Last Days of Magic issue, so yeah, I'm done. Thanks for that, Christina. I knew we couldn't get through a episode of Comic Roundtable without Deadpool's name coming up somewhere, so... groan. Anyway, loving Doctor Strange. For me, it has done no wrong. I don't care if some people view him as being hipster Doctor Strange. I am okay with him being hipster Doctor Strange. It worked. Now that everything's gotten all serious, he's not quite so hipster, and... yeah, I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with the book. I'm loving it. What else do I talk about Marvel-wise? Red, what else did you get?
I think I might be the only one that's reading it. Anybody else reading Black Knight, the final one?
Yeah, just you.
I flipped through it.
Yeah, I was really enjoying this. I haven't been reading the Weird World title, but it's really just a quick fantasy fight over like a Lord of the Rings type MacGuffin, and at the end they're just like happily ever after. But they leave the door open to bringing the character back into Marvel if they want to.
Oh yeah, so you say happily ever after? Does that mean that he does he escape Weird World?
No, the main character, the Black Knight, he has this magic sword, and it's kind of like the One Ring where like you get addicted to it.
Okay.
And the ghosts of his ancestors talk to him through the sword, and Cap steals it at the end of the last issue.
Right.
He gets it back at the end of this one because Cap and him have to fight a guy from Hydra that was working with some Hydra agents that got sucked into Weird World during World War II.
Okay. Cool. But you're not picking up Weird World, huh?
No, my shop didn't have the first couple when it came out, so I kind of fell behind on it.
Because like me and Mike are picking up Weird World, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
The candy issue.
that was the thing. I rolled issue for the Secret Wars, so I picked not same because Aaron's world pop in it is crazy. And as much this was dark and deep, and I loved Humphreys for that writing style.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit for me, Mike. I don't know for anybody else, but I'm having a hard time hearing you. Is it just me?
No, it was like
Okay,
All right.
so I apologize.
awesome.
I apologize if I'm not answering something to you, because yeah, for me I'm getting the ands and the thes and not a lot in between. But I think you're talking about the fact you went on to this book from the from the original, from the Secret Wars stuff and whatnot. And Humphreys is doing a great job. I love this story. I mean, because there's actually a really story here. I mean, as much as the art is amazing, of course, with the Del Mundo art, just these fantastic, crazy scenes of stuff going on and whatnot. There is an actual story in there. I mean, there's actual, for those of us who have feelings, they're actually pull on those feelings and whatnot. In this issue, we find out what the female barbarian, what the heck's her name? Shoot. Starts with a G.
Golgotha? Yeah. It's like Golgotha,
Right.
I thought.
Golgotha, yeah. We find out what she lost because everybody in Weird World has lost something, kind of a thing, pretty much. We find out what she lost. Basically, a lover is what she lost. And we get a larger conversation. We address the whole fact that Rebecca, our main character, of course, she was on the plane to bury her mother's ashes in Mexico, and in this issue, Mom shows up, and so that brings up a lot of brings up a lot of feelings about the whole experience. That basically, Mom took her life, left her by herself, and that whole experience for her, and what she's had to do, and the fact that, of course, when you don't know somebody's dying, and then suddenly they die, all you can remember is those conversations you had where you were pissed at them, where you yelled at them, where you had an argument, and all that sort of stuff. And so then she's kind of left with the baggage of her last conversations are always these kind of awful things. And even when she's hallucinating and she finds Mom here, she ends up still, arguing and yelling at her and stuff like that. And it feels really awful. But they do kind of break out of that spell, see the world for what it really is, and all that is great. The politics of World are coming to a head now. A war is getting ready to start. Morgana is leading an army of lava men against the they're the Swamp Queen, right? The Man Thing army, and the Man Thing army is going to fight the lava men, which sounds ridiculous, but I bet it's going to be pretty cool. I'm enjoying the heck out of the book because it has way more to it than what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to just be a big, kind of crazy romp, and that's all it was going to be. But there's a lot more going on than that. I'm really digging it for all those aspects. Glad I jumped onto it.
Is that Del Mundo?
Yeah, I mean, the first couple pages. Yeah.
No, my God.
Del Mundo's art. The Del Mundo art was what we saw previously, and I know those first couple pages, that's what felt the Del Mundo art would be like, was, it'd just be so much about that. But you're right, so deep, so dark of a story. This one really, like you said, touched the heart.
Yeah, for all the, like I said, for all the grand, just nutsy things, this town they're in ends up being like a giant, like Venus flytrap sort of thing, and they blast their steed right through the walls of it, and stuff to escape. I don't know. It like I said, it was cool stuff.
Yeah. So definitely something I would say you should pick up and trade, Fred.
Yeah.
And the Secret Wars version was very good too.
But you don't need that Secret Wars
No, you don't.
to be reading this at all. I mean, it's its own story. Because I didn't read the Secret Wars thing whatsoever.
So Skull at the end was in the previous storyline.
Oh, was it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So they are mining some characters from that. Okay. Cool.
I think we're done most of it.
Okay. What else we got? Luke, did you read any Marvel books this week? No, right on! Spider-Man week!
Spider-Man.
And that's it. We're done talking Spider-Man. What else do we want to talk about? No? Is that a point one, or is that a...
This is a real deal. This is the real deal. Yeah, it's the number 9. It's number 9. Pure number 9. I'm going to try to keep a somewhat positive viewpoint on it. It did have its moments. You do see some parts in here where it's like you see the goofy Peter, like, oh, he's got a sense of humor, you know, like when him and Nick Fury are getting ready to go into a rocket and he's singing, you know, ground control, Major Tom. You know, his dialogue box is he's actually singing the song as Fury's trying to have a conversation with him, and then he does that somewhere else too. I think it's an Elton John song or something like that. So you see some parts where it's like, okay, at least they're getting that right. He's not kind of like the billionaire playboy. They've been doing that before. It's a start of a new story, Scorpio Rising, which they kind of hit on. It's not really like a new story arc. It's been kind of like been building off of some of the like little snippets you've seen from prior issues with Scorpio. But basically all that happens is that Spidey and Nick Fury go to space to basically override this satellite. And he comes back down. Yeah. And that's about it.
So did he swing from lots of skyscrapers while he's in space?
Yeah, he was doing asteroids. He was like... And then how he... I was wondering as he's falling through the atmosphere, I was like, well, wouldn't he catch on fire? Well, at least they kind of touched on... It was kind of... I'm not going to say cheap, but how he survives, you know, going through the atmosphere, you catch on fire.
Yeah.
At least they took... It had its moments, but this one was just one. It's while they might got the feel for Peter, right? It's just the story could have been probably a little bit better. But I'm gonna be positive this week. Life is good.
So are you looking forward to the rebirth of Spider-Man? Kidding. Whenever the hell that is.
And they relaunch it again next month or something.
Wow. Yeah. Rough. Any other Marvel books?
I did get Thor. Oh yes, excellent. Fred, what'd you think?
I liked it. I was just kind of hoping there would be more Thor versus Odin. I mean, like what we got was good, but it seemed more on like the Freya Sif versus everybody else fight.
I did like that Thor punched Odin from hard to stab.
Nice.
I like how she keeps telling him to back down. She keeps like insisting that he's.
So
old,
it was
he's
good.
I'm sorry.
No, yeah, you're definitely right. I mean, the fight was short, but with Freya, it was very interesting. Loki turns once again and stabs her in the back. Am I coming?
Yeah, you're really choppy tonight, Mike.
I'll let Fred.
So, like, for the most part, Loki's been like trying to convince everybody that him and Freya have a plan for like this new Thor, and trying to get her in charge with pushing Odin off to the side. And if Thor beats Odin, then Freya can go back to being the All-Mother. And while this entire fight's going on, both Loki and Freya are chained up, but Loki has a poison dagger that puts her into like an Odin sleep-like coma. So Odin stops fighting when he senses that Frey is dying, puts her into the Odin sleep chamber, and then like locks himself away. And his brother, the Serpent, takes over Asgard.
Nice.
And everybody thinks that's like been the Serpent's plan the whole time, and that he's been infecting Odin with like his evil presence or whatever. But at the end, we finally find out what happened to the Odin son, and he's got his old like hammer axe combo, and he's been captured by these aliens somewhere else. Like, we don't know where it is, but he's been tied up, and he still has the destroyer on.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
what issue
like
is
the-
this?
This is issue 5.
Okay.
And then the cover for next issue, it makes it look like regular Odin son Thor is going to be the main focus.
Oh, so they're probably going to move maybe off to... that could be good or bad, huh?
And he's got his axe back, and he was cool when he had that with Goddess of Thunder.
Sure. Right, I did read some of that, yeah. Yeah. I'm being told in the comments that I'm an idiot for not having picked up that run of books, so... 5 issues. I don't know. That's hard to track down for me locally. So I don't know. Gotta wait till after Oklahoma City Comic Con, and there's all these stuff I missed out on. I'm gonna be ordering, I think. So sounds cool. Every time I hear about it, sounds cool. Nice. So I read The Vision. Since how Ryan's there in the comments freaking out that nobody's talking about The Vision yet. Any of you guys reading The Vision? Oh, this is comic book storytelling on another level. This issue, half of it is quotes from Shakespeare's. I think it's The Merchant of Venice. I think. Which, of course, you kind of roll your eyes and go, ugh, Shakespeare. But, yeah, The Merchants of Venice. But it's basically the daughter of Via sitting in the library, and she's reading this stuff, and it's more of that kind of, are we human? You know, what is man? What is humanity? Kind of stuff. If you prick me, don't I bleed? You know, aren't we the same? There's a whole speech in the Merchant of Venice about the whole, if I'm a Jew and I'm attacked by somebody, shouldn't I have vengeance? Just as if you were a Christian, you're attacked by somebody, you should have vengeance. And all this different aspect is being told, it's being read while we're getting all these shots of like the this father who's in a coma. Of course, the son is dead. This is all stuff that's happened with when Mom went to visit them to figure out how to stop this whole chain of events that's been happening, where the guy wants to get her out, get the family, Vision's family, out of their neighborhood. The guy had seen, has a video of her murdering the Grim Reaper and burying him in the backyard. And it's so crazy. The whole thing is so far out of control. And in this is issue number 5. This is where we see, and the way the other half of the story is told, and how the story is told in general, is it's told in a way that the stuff's already happened, and we're kind of going back and we're looking at it as to how it happened. So you get these occasional the way they talk about stuff. It's kind of in the past tense, like it's happened, or we're looking back on what transpired to bring us to where the story is now. We're not actually where the story is at now, but we're kind of being told part of the story in that way. And in this moment, a great moment in the second half of this book, the Vision likes to refer to 37 key times that he saved the entire Earth from annihilation, and therefore he kind of feels like he shouldn't be questioned on stuff, and he kind of thinks that everybody owes him in a sense, because if he wouldn't have saved the world those 37 times, you'd all be dead and none of this would matter. It just wouldn't matter. And in this issue, they actually literally list all 37 times that he for sure knows that he saved the world. And while he's running down this list, this policeman is kind of questioning, where were you last night when this kid was killed and this man was put in a coma? Where was your family? And basically, he'll ask him, and the vision will say, well, I was at home with my kids. Do you have any way of confirming that? Yes, I just told you I was at home with my kids. That's his confirmation. I mean, he just doesn't understand why he's being questioned. I mean, his word is, is gold as far as he's concerned. Why are you questioning that? And towards the very end of this, he lies. Because the detective asked him, was your whole family there? You said you and your kids were there. Was the whole family there? He pauses, and then he goes, yes. And that's not true. His wife was off, supposedly talking to somebody about getting a job. So, and then they kind of key that as being the critical moment, the tipping point where things start to go awry. So, it's an incredible book. It's, like I said, to me, it's comic book storytelling on a completely different level. It's definitely an intellectual level, but just brilliantly done. The artwork in it is brilliant. The ending of this issue, Mom's falling apart. She cannot handle. She is cracking at the seams with the stuff that she is holding in and hiding. All this stuff that's gone out of control around her that she's been hiding from her husband. Most of it she's hiding from her children. She's developing all kinds of tics and flaws. She can't just say a straight sentence. She repeats stuff all the time. She smashes the dining room table during dinner. And she's kind of stuck just repeatedly saying, I can't fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. Vision comes home and goes, oh, what happened to the table? And she's still going, I can't fix it, fix it, fix it. And he goes, okay, well, you sit here and get your thoughts together. I'm going to bed. I'll see you when you get there. And he just walks off. I mean, and she's, like I said, she is stuck in this loop, setting it for this broken giant dining room table, just stuck going, fix it, fix it, fix it, fix it. It's an amazing, amazing book. It just really is. It's brilliant. So happy that people said to pick it up, and I managed to get there and get it picked up because it's just, cool stuff. It's going to go 12 issues. King says he's on it for 12 issues, even though he signed that exclusive with DC. So, good stuff. Definitely one of my favorite comics. Definitely my favorite comic by Marvel right now. This is a good week for Marvel books for me. They're all great. This by far is my favorite of them. It's just smart on a lot of levels. Just really, really like it. So, anybody else got any other Marvel books?
I know I got a fan favorite of you guys.
What's that?
Deadpool.
Oh, you're right on. You'll never be invited back again. But anyway, let's talk Deadpool.
I've decided I'm dropping all the other tie-in titles and stuff. I'm just sticking to the main story arc, and I'm gonna see how far that one takes me. Why
are you deciding to do that? Just because there's so much of it, or?
Yeah, especially with the movie coming out, they kind of started. They got Spidey Deadpool, they got Gambit Deadpool coming out. They got Split Second with Deadpool and Cable. They got the mainstream Deadpool. They got all these other tie-ins coming out for the Doctor Strange book.
Right.
And a lot of those books for me weren't putting up the quality I was looking for. And if I'm going to start picking up other titles, I need to start trimming.
Sure.
But I wanted to stick with just the main run, especially because I have friends that borrow my books. And a lot of them are Deadpool fans too. But this is probably the best book since the end of Secret Wars. And Deadpool's trying to figure out who killed his mom and dad and the rest of his family. And pre-Secret Wars, you find out it was him after Weapons X messes with his mind. He burns down his own house, killing his family inside. But now he thinks it's Sabretooth, and he hunts down Sabretooth throughout the issue. And at the end of it, he almost decapitates him while he's leaving a Magneto mission. And he's standing over him going, "You killed my family," and that's where it ends off. But this was the most serious and equally funny Deadpool. They've been trying to slip jokes in throughout the series so far, with none of them really landing. This has been funny and serious, and they even call back to when he was first made, and they draw him in the Liefeld sort of design where he's very oval and I just really enjoyed this one.
Cool. I'm glad it's working because I've heard some even amongst the Deadpool fans there's been some kind of apprehension with, of course, the movie and all the insane amount of stuff that's coming out around the character. So. Right on. The only other Marvel book I picked up was Ms. Marvel, issue number 5. There with all of her 3D printer clones. This issue was a lot of fun. It's got a lot of good laughs in it because, of course, it's kind of it's basically like the Mickey Mouse Fantasia, where you get the magic broom to carry the bucket of water. It starts to get out of control, so you chop it with an axe to kill it because it's putting more water than you want. Well, that just makes 2 brooms, and then you chop those brooms, and then you got it just multiplies and multiplies. These clones have a viral defect in them. A contaminant from when she was fighting Hydra is on her, and it gets in the mix, and so they're just replicating themselves over and over and over again. So literally by the end of this issue, a large portion of New Jersey is covered in clones. They have to close the school down because there are so many clones of her walking around that no one else can move inside the building. The clones are just swarming all over the place. While this crazy clone thing is happening, her family is making wedding plans. They've met the parents of the woman that's going to marry Camilla's older brother. So you get a little bit of cultural conflict there in a way, in the fact that her brother is marrying a American Muslim woman, and her parents are Christian. Her being Muslim is kind of a new thing that the parents aren't 100% comfortable with it. So you get kind of the cultural clash there, because of course Camilla's family is very traditional in that they feel like that both their kids should be marrying other Pakistani Muslims, and so they're kind of got raised eyebrows about their son marrying this American Muslim woman. So they're working on that stuff. So you get to see some of that, which is interesting and kind of cool as far as the the social aspect that comics can carry and portray for us. I thought they did a really good job of that, and the whole stuff with the clones is just fun. It's just a good laugh. They think they've got most of it taken care of in one way or another, and then of course it gets really out of control at the very end of it. It looks like that instead of there being a bunch of clones, the clones all kind of mashed together into one uber giant clone that's like 3 or 4 stories tall that is now stomping around like Godzilla, trying to eat stuff. So I don't know. I'm really enjoying it. It is a lot of fun. It's still a charming book. It's kind of settled in. I noticed that Ryan's talking about that people don't talk about this book about it being the phenom kind of a book that it was that we were talking about a year ago. And I think that's because the newness of it is worn off. I think it's always just as good as it's always been. It's just, I think like all books, we keep talking about the same things that are great about it. After a while, you quit talking about the same things that are great about it because you're just repeating yourself. I still think it's an excellent book. I still think it's one of Marvel's top books. I think it's a positive book in a ton of ways, as far as being young reader friendly, new reader friendly, old reader friendly. It's got all those things to it. I don't think it's excellent. I just think that it's like a lot of stuff. We talk about it enough. After a while, you feel like you're saying the same stuff, but that's all positive stuff. It's just, I don't know. I still think it's really great. I still recommend it to anybody. It's got all the great classic stuff of the early Spider-Man, as far as the young hero that's trying to find their way through the whole heroing thing when they're new at it, and what does that mean? And they do an excellent job with this, because Kamala, by the end of this issue, is realizing that she really can't just focus on just her. I mean, the rest of the world matters around her too. She can't just create clones to go and do her daily life so she can just focus on superheroes. I mean, her parents are important to her. Her brother, despite him being a dork, is important to her, and she needs to kind of recommit to figuring out how to make both aspects of her life work, and I think that makes for a great and a positive, you know, conversation around the book. So I don't think it's dropped in quality whatsoever. I think it's just as smart as it's always been. I just think that we've gone like close to 20 issues now. So those of us who are lauding on it, I don't know, because it's not like the stories themselves are some intricate, the villain that she's fighting or whatever. It's more about her daily struggles of trying to be a hero and stuff. That's the interesting stuff, and that conversation never changes. So I think maybe those of us who are talking about it lay off talking about it because we're just saying the same thing. But it's a positive same thing. Anyway, any other Marvel books? Anybody? No? Marvel news?
In like a week.
Oh yeah, the 18th, right? Today is the what? The 12th? 6 days?
Yep.
6 days we get new Daredevil? I'm excited for that. I actually finally watched the actual new trailer that's on Netflix. So I watched it last night. I like the refinement they've done on his costume and stuff. A little bit from the end of last season, which is pretty cool. Could be exciting. Lots of ninjas and all kinds of crazy stuff, right? So, yeah.
And Luke Cage is September 30th.
Oh, really? So we now have a date for when his show is going to be, huh?
Yes. Yeah.
And it's Luke Cage. It's not a Power Man Iron Fist show. They each are going to have their own show, huh?
Yeah.
Curious to see what that's going to be like.
Yeah.
Because we've seen a chunk of the character, but I don't know. The chunk of the character we've seen, it's like, what story are they going to tell? I mean, all the shows we've seen so far have had a real focus. I mean, clearly the first season of Daredevil had a focus to establishing Daredevil. Clearly, Jessica Jones had I think a message that they wanted to give us, plus the very focused story on what it is. But we got quite a bit of Luke Cage in that Jessica Jones, so we got kind of a taste of who he is. So what's his own story going to be? That will be interesting to see what that's going to be like. So.
And hopefully they've learned that they don't have to do an origin; they just work it naturally in the story.
Well, to me, it seems like it would be silly to really give us a full origin at this point because they've already established the character. I mean,
yeah.
Like Daredevil, they did kind of bounce back to being a kid to kind of give us how did it happen. But they've already kind of hinted in the Jessica Jones thing that he's.
Yeah.
Was his a scientific accident? He was just born that way, right?
No, he was a prisoner that was tested.
That's right.
That's right. Pre-Captain America, yeah.
So I would guess that we're going to get. Yeah. I would guess that we're going to get some of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Terrence kind of cracky. He's got a good question there. He wonders if they're going to cross the time. He was away from Jessica Jones. If we're going to dip into that, or if it's going to just be its own kind of a thing. I'd be curious to see if we get Jessica Jones sliding over into his show, which would be interesting to see if she's got some guest spots in that to kind of keep everything tied together, or if the one character that's going to continue to tie it all together is the Night Nurse. So, yeah, interesting. Any other Marvel stuff?
Was the casting for Iron Fist before your show last week or after it?
After.
It was, yeah.
Because they cast him as well.
Iron Fist?
Yeah.
Right. And then they've also supposedly cast, or they're looking to cast...
Shang-Chi?
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know, it's going to be interesting. And, right, they cast the guy who was in...
he plays Loras in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
that's all I've seen him in, and he's a side character in that show, so I don't know how he'll do as a lead.
Right. Right. Yeah, no idea either. I'm okay with that, though. I mean, I'm okay with them picking actors who are, at least to me, I'm not that familiar with to play the roles, because then I can just look at them as playing that role as opposed to... I mean, I have to admit it, when I watch Daredevil, every time I see Karen Page, the character Karen Page, I unfortunately watched enough... what the hell is that vampire show called? I can't remember it now, so I guess it doesn't matter. Anyway, she played a vampire in that, and I have a hard time not seeing her as the vampire first, and then whatever second. So I'm all for them casting people that I have little familiarity with, so I don't see them as somebody else. But yeah, I'm curious to see them all. I mean, the two we've seen so far have been interesting or good, so I'm on board for all. True Blood, thank you, Comic Crack. That's what it was. True Blood. Oh. Maybe it was a good thing I forgot the name of it. At any rate, yeah.
Well,
there?
and this Civil War teaser.
Oh yes, the latest Civil War teaser. Underoos! That did nothing for me, personally.
I start getting Spider-Man. I'm gonna open the page. I'm gonna start doing Underoos.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not familiar with Civil War, so it's going to be all interesting for me to watch that movie because I haven't read that yet. At some point, I know I need to. I hear relatively decent things about it. I like the idea of Civil War. I think it'll just. I mean, I have a feeling this movie is just going to help reestablish in my head that Iron Man's a douchebag, and I've never been a fan, and this will just make me all the more not a fan. I'm guessing so.
How pivotal Spider-Man was in that Civil War storyline, it's nice to see him in the movie.
Oh, okay. So it's important to have him in it, right?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people were worried about before Sony made the deal.
Yeah. I wonder how big of a role is he actually going to have in the actual movie, though? You think they're going to write it differently enough to not matter?
Yeah.
I did see something earlier. I don't know if it's official or not, but it looked like they added in an Iron Spider costume, which, if they have that, they'll make it even better. For me, at least.
Cool. Well, I'm sure I'll go and see it in the theater, maybe? I don't know. To tell you the truth, last night I just finally watched Age of Ultron, so that tells you how enthusiastic I am to go and see some of those movies and whatnot. So. And I'm glad I'm glad I rented it on Netflix as opposed to going with the throngs of people to watch Age of Ultron. So I still prefer Winter Soldier over all the other movies that have come out. So.
I'm gonna watch or read Civil War, and you'll just say, "I need more crossovers." After that.
That's what I'll do. You think so, huh? I have a hard time feeling that. So.
Maybe.
Funny. Okay. Any other Marvel news?
No.
No? Let's roll on to some independent books. What do we pick up independent-wise? What do people want to talk about? Fred, got anything in particular?
All I picked up was that Lucifer #3 you suggested a couple weeks ago. That's it.
All right. So what are you thinking of Lucifer?
I'm just also reading the original when it became a spinoff from Sandman.
Uh-huh.
I'm reading that now too, so I'm liking this as well. And that demon you were talking about in the bottle,
Yeah, right.
that's from Sandman when Lucifer gives up hell. That's the demon that takes over afterwards, and then Sandman traps it in a bottle.
Okay. I wondered if that was the case. I have not read any breadth of the original Lucifer. I just read bits and pieces of things here and there along the way and whatnot. So cool.
Yeah. But I like the fact they're bringing in the old continuity and bringing in Sandman again.
Right. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Cool. Well, Mike, Luke, got any books you want to talk about?
I got one, but you can go ahead. I'm sure you guys. What came out?
It's just gonna be me talking. Okay. What do I want to talk about? Let's see. I don't want to talk about this. We'll talk about this because hardly anybody reads this book. The Bunker. I love that cover because you look at it really closely. I don't know if it's gonna pick up the camera. The way the ice is all stacked up, it's like a skull inside of his glass of alcohol there. This issue I really loved. I loved it because it has those conversations about, because this book has a lot to do with time travel. People from the future have come back in time. Basically, future versions of themselves that are in their 50s or 60s are coming back to alter the behavior of 20-year-old of themselves to alter alter the timeline enough that the disasters of the future don't happen. One of these characters ends up being president of the United States. Another one develops a genetic hybrid for some grains, some crops that mutate and get out of control and pretty much wipe out most of the vegetation on the planet Earth, causing, of course, mass starvation and all other kinds of stuff and whatnot. In this issue, there's a conversation that you always kind of wonder about if you start thinking about time travel and how the hell does that work. If you go back and you change the past, what does that mean for the person that's from the future? I mean, so if I'm in the future and I travel back to the past and buy 6-year-old Travis a pony, how does that change my life? And do I suddenly, as 40-plus-year-old me, do I suddenly change? And they're sitting in this bar having a conversation about the fact, well, I don't know if we've changed the timeline enough because I don't feel any different. And so there's this whole conversation about supposedly all the different theories around how does altering the past change the future and yourself. Do you just suddenly wink out of existence? They're going to know they did the right thing if they just suddenly all of a sudden go poof because they don't exist anymore because that reality has changed. And all these different theories, and by the time and one of the characters is kind of quoting this stuff like it's absolute 100% science that this is what's going to happen. And after there's a second, the guy takes another drink and looks at her, and she's like, I have no idea what's going to happen. I mean, they really don't. But we also find out in this issue that maybe this wasn't as grand of an idea as they thought it was going to be, or that we first get told that it's important because they're going to save the world, they're going to save millions of lives. Now it's sounding a lot more personal. This has more to do with what happens to specific individuals. It really doesn't matter that the whole planet's going to go to hell in a handbasket. They just want to fix a few things for themselves, kind of a stuff. So we've got this future president and first lady and a couple scientists from the future are back messing around in the past, and we don't really know exactly why they're doing it. And they've introduced a character that they didn't know existed. There's this one of the group from the bunker. She has a girlfriend that in the past with these future people, she didn't exist, or she may have existed, but she wasn't part of them. But she's somehow part of them now, and they're not sure exactly how that's going to play out. So they're trying to figure out, okay, do we kill this person because they're going to put a monkey wrench in it, or is this the person we need to exist to alter things? They're playing a lot of 20 questions to try and figure it out. But just really, really like the book. It's been gone for a while. They took a really long break, but now they're back. So they're going to crank out a bunch more issues. It's not a book a lot of people talk about. It is a slow burn as far as the story goes, but I still really like it. There's lots of the art is different, kind of its own unique kind of a thing. I think it's really great. You get these kind of slow moments of just thinking, this is our future president that's smoking and drinking, and the only reason he's smoking is because tobacco is one of the first plants that gets annihilated by this thing. So there just isn't cigarettes. So the idea of smoking is really appealing to him. But lots of emotion, lots of really interesting panel work and big shots and stuff that I really like. But yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. I think there's like 2 or 3 trades out of the book. I don't talk about it much, so I figured I'd talk about it here. Really digging it. Written by Joshua Hillfelkoff, who does The Life After, a bunch of stuff like that. He's doing a lot of little small things right now. And then Joe Firiani is the guy who does the art on it. So yeah, pretty cool. Really enjoyed it. What you got, Luke?
I got Harrow County. So I know you're gonna trade read, so I'm not gonna I won't go too far in depth. What's good about this one is that obviously we're getting into another story arc, or I think we actually started last issue. So this one we're kind of really building into maybe a concept what this next arc's going to be. But this really, it reads like a one and done though, if it kind of makes sense. It does seem like we're going to get another witch, and so I know if you, I think it was in the first trade, it mentions this this other girl kind of comes in from another town, the friends of Emily.
Right.
But this one I think is going to deal with
that first trade. Yeah.
Right. So this one kind of deals with that part of that colony or whatever, and it deals with basically a guy gets bit by a cottonmouth water moccasin, and it kind of just goes kind of weird from there. As this book it just takes something simple and just really just puts a weird take on it. So. And it was a good read. The backup story, I love this back. In the trade, did they show you like the one-page, real quick stories by like the town tie-in? Let's say Adventures of like Harrow County. It's literally just a page. Yeah, I love this. Yeah, this one was pretty good. Dealt with like a local butcher. And,
cool.
But yeah, stories spot on, art same old. So, but it was fun. So yeah, you can definitely see a concept for the next story arc in this one.
Cool. I'm glad that book is trucking around along. The first trade was a lot of fun. So looking forward to getting the next one. So, is a cottonmouth and a water moccasin the same? Yes, they're both poisonous.
Yes. It just depends on some people call them they're cottonmouths, and like, oh, it's a water moccasin. Well,
they're all rattlesnake of sort, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean they're viper. It's a viper, just like a.
Close enough for our conversation.
Yes.
God.
Which I had dealings with them when I was in Georgia and Louisiana. Not fun. They are not fun. Aggressive.
Picked up Headlopper. Headlopper is a hell of a lot of fun. It's just a crazy book. This is a $6 book. It comes out quarterly. It's a big old thick thing. Quarterly adventure comic. This is 3 of 4. It's, if you like, kind of barbarian hack and slash with a, kind of a cartoon style artwork. It's just so much fun. This issue is no exception. Headlopper is just a great character. He doesn't say a whole lot, and clearly he's a headlopper. He hawks heads off. That's his thing. In this issue, we get some more of the kind of the storyline as this kind of evil assistant to the queen is trying to take the throne. He's impatient. He goes and does some things against an evil sorcerer that he had hired to help him out. That does not go well, so we'll see where that all ends up at. But Headlopper, of course, he drags around this head of this witch that he chopped the head off, but she's not dead. So the witch is constantly yakking all the time, and it's just kind of this running gag of she just won't shut up. And at one point in this issue, he puts a big helmet on to stifle her out, so she's just this muffled. And of course, when he puts that helmet on, he can't hear a damn thing, so he gets ambushed because he's trying to shut the stupid the head up. The head just goes on and on talking. They get captured by these twins. And they're gonna be fed. Well, there's two heroes locked down there. One of them is the virgin sacrifice, but the virgin sacrifice is also a warrior woman, and then of course the Headlopper is tied up down there because they just want him dead. These two people, there's this evil monster that they can't name or describe, basically, down there, and every X number of moons they feed a virgin to the monster. So it stays locked in its cage instead of breaking out and destroying the world. Yada, yada, yada. Typical mythical kind of a thing. And they're just using this as a convenient way to get rid of Headlopper. They're getting paid some money to get rid of Headlopper, so they're locking him up down there along with the Virgin. So while they're doing that, they've thrown the head on this table because they're going to turn the head over to this evil sorceress to cash money in on it. So the head is sitting here. The head is sitting next to a skull. And she starts having this conversation with the skull because clearly she's a talking head. It must be a talking head too. They're standing staring. She's like, "So what are you in for?" And of course, it doesn't have anything to say. It's just ... So every so many pages, while there's the giant monster that you can't describe or name. It's like I don't know. It's like a sand or cave spider with a weird clown-headed tail thing that throws and spits spikes. But anyway, every so often while this battle's going on, there's this hilarious conversation with the witch's head and the skull, which doesn't talk, that she falls in love with at one point. Just having this conversation. He's the strong, silent type, clearly. It's just hilarious. It's just a really fun comic. Like I said, there's lots of action in it, lots of grand, head lopping, of course. There's some head lopping in it because he lops the head off the thing as it's spitting evil spikes at him and stuff. But it's great. It's a great comic. Like I said, it's $6, but it only comes out, every 3 months. It's big and hefty. Like I said, I don't know. It's probably 60 pages or 80 pages a whack when it comes out. It's fun. If it came out all the time, I wouldn't want to pay that price for it. But it's cool for that. And I really like it. It's written and drawn by Andrew McLean, and Mike Spencer does the colors on it. But it's just fun. The characters are goofy and big and grand in the high fantasy sort of a way. It's just fun. What else? What else do I want to talk about? Slash and Burn. This is issue number 5. I don't know if issue number 6 is the end of this series completely or not. I kind of keep seeing different things about it one way or the other. This issue, we get a little more background on the characters and what they did as orphans that either got them in trouble or created a situation where they all got new identities and got jobs, places, and stuff like that when they became older and everything like that. I don't want to give too much away in case we pick this thing up in trade, because I would assume the trade's coming out fairly soon. And our main character kind of confronts somebody pinning these fires that have happened, these murders on one of the orphans, and maybe it's not him, and then at the very end of it there's kind of a hint that maybe there is a mythical thing, because there was one of the first couple issues of this, there was kind of this kind of almost, you weren't sure if it was supernatural in some way or another element to it, or if it was just little kids and their overactive imagination kind of thing. We've kind of dipped back into that a little bit. Not 100% sure where we're going with that. I really like it. I really think it's a really interesting book. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll continue or it really is the end with next issue or not. I really like it. I love the aspects of it. As much as it sounds kind of stupid to have a pyromaniac working as a fireman, it really does work. She's kind of interesting. She does her own kind of detective work on the side, kind of stuff that all plays together really well and makes it kind of a curious and interesting sort of a thing.
These new Vertigo titles, have they pretty much said, are all of them kind of like ongoing? Or are they kind of like majority? No,
some of them are definitely only like 6 issues, or like New Romancer, which I read this week, which I won't talk about because I just don't care for it at all. It was originally going to be 12 issues. Now it makes it sound like it's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be 6 instead. But I don't know. I'm kind of looking at the comments. Ryan's saying, and I don't know exactly where he's getting the information from, but he says his understanding is the Slash and Burn will continue for at least another arc. All the Vertigo ongoings in the relaunch were promised at least 12 issues. So I just don't know.
I know what Jacked is only 6, right?
Yeah, it's an 8 issue. It was stated as 8 issues. That's originally what it was going to be. But there were a bunch of these are supposed to be ongoing, like the
A clean room. We figured that's good. That's ongoing.
Right. And it doesn't seem to be having any real hiccups like some of the others are. I haven't heard anything about it that it's on shaky ground or anything's questionable. That the Survivors Club, for instance, somebody tweeted to me a day or two ago questioning whether or not it was going to go on because Amazon was soliciting the first trade as being the complete Survivors Club. And normally you wouldn't say the complete Survivors Club unless it's collecting the whole thing, like 9 issues or whatever. I don't know. So I don't know on some of those as far as that goes. And I haven't. I'm getting them when I'm ordering them, and I'm ordering them as I'm going along. But I haven't looked so forward into advanced solicitations to remember 100% whether the books are still there or not as I'm ordering them. So I don't know. Because on the books I know I'm going to get, I try not to look at the solicitations a whole lot other than just to confirm there it is and click the order button. Because I don't want to wreck the story for myself by reading the fine details of it and stuff. So I'm curious to see what else is coming, because they've had this big dump of a bunch of these books, and some of them aren't going to last, so what's next? I mean, I know that the next arc of that Bumerigo, what's the guy's name that's writing?
Suiciders.
Yes, Suiciders. The next arc of it is coming out, so I'll be getting that. I'm curious to see what that's going to be like and stuff. And some of those Vertigo books were expanded, because I think like A Sheriff of Babylon was originally set for 8 issues. It's being expanded to 12 issues. So clearly there's some fluidity in there as far as what they want to do or what they think they're going to do and stuff. So for better or for worse. So I'm enjoying most of them. I'm not enjoying the New Romancer. I'm not a big fan of Red Thorn. Those 2 books just haven't really captured my imagination at all. The rest of them I'm enjoying in one sense or another. Some of them are really good. Some of them are fine. Brandon's saying that he thinks that the Unfollow has been his favorite. I really like the Unfollow. It's really, really intriguing. It's gorgeous to look at. I'm curious to see what that book's going to be like. It's just got a lot of kind of interesting stuff going on in it. So agree with it there. Insects are Insects number 4. If you dig monsters and sex scenes, this book can be a lot of fun. The only thing they don't do in this book is show full-on genitalia. But as far as the acts of sex and whatnot, they are 100% here. I'm not sure what I think of this book. I keep getting it, and I keep saying I don't know what I think of it. So I'm going to continue to say that. There's aspects of it that are really interesting. This woman and her handmaid are both mythical creatures of a sort. She turns into a bug. I mean, she actually sprouts extra arms, and she gets bug eyes, and she's clearly super strong in that form. She can stab holes and stuff, and she's really powerful. And under stress, those arms pop out of her flesh and tear her clothes, and she's all bugified along with her human body. Her handmaid, her powers aren't so much physical as is her senses are hyperly acute. But the thing is, hilariously in this issue, we find out for her to really get her senses really heightened, she needs to be stimulated. And she is stimulated by the middle of this thing. So the 2 of them are out hunting for the London Butcherer, which is basically the equivalent of Jack the Ripper. They're up on the rooftops hunting for him. She needs to be stimulated so her senses can be heightened so she can smell and track down the London Butcherer. And so they go at it on top of this roof, and they pull no punches. There is all kinds of face writing and all kinds of stuff here. I mean, it's like I said, if they showed genitalia, it'd be straight up porn. but it would certainly have an NC-17 rating as far as that goes. So it's just really strange. Right in the middle of this book, plops suddenly there's these wild 3 or 4 pages of sex scenes, and then, okay, my senses are heightened now. Thanks, honey. They find the London Butcherer, or what they think is the London Butcherer. The London Butcherer is some ancient werewolf that's part of some Christian brotherhood, and they've been around for a very long time, and they've been monsters for a long time, and he kind of refers to these ladies as being new generation monsters, and they better watch out. But neither of them are the London Butcherer. The London Butcherer is still out there because he's hunting supposedly the London Butcherer too. So there's interesting aspects to this story, and then there's these, non-veiled feminist. Hey, women can do this too things in here, and then there's this wild, crazy sex scenes that drop in, if not every issue, every other issue, kind of a thing. So I don't know. It keeps me reading because I just want to know what the hell is going to go on. But I don't know that I'm not 100% sure how well crafted it really is, and how much of it's just the curiosity of. I don't want to say looking at a train wreck, because it's not a train wreck. It's not bad, but just it's so out there in a lot of ways. It's like I keep thinking, how are we going to put this all together in a fashion that's going to make more sense than what it does? But I don't.
If it's someone who's been reading like Marguerite Bennett in DC or I don't know, yeah, she does some Marvel too. Would you be able to pick it up when you read them? Like, yeah, this is some like typical Bennett style, or is it totally different? What she?
It's Bennett style in some ways, but it's really different in others because she's got so much more room to, I think, in this to do stuff. I mean, she still clearly has editors, but I think she's given more room to tell whatever the hell she wants to tell. So it's kind of going. It's not structured the same. Like, I don't read a lot of her DC stuff now. I've read some of the bits and pieces about. Like, I'm not reading Bombshells, for instance, but I'm reading the Angela book, which she writes. The Angela book is fairly straightforward and structured. I think it keeps it simple. It's Marvel. Let's not. I think it's kind of a. Tell most of the story straightforward. Occasionally telling a little bit of a backstory, but telling the story straightforward. This one hops around a lot more. It definitely has Marguerite Bennett characteristics to it. Some of the way the characters talk, some of their bits of humor or their quips at people, I feel like are kind of typical of her. But I don't know that you pick it up and go, oh, this is Marguerite Bennett for sure. I don't know. About that, because it is just such a kind of a different kind of a thing, because it's dealing in subject matter and she can just kind of go wherever. It is kind of funny to watch her and the artist on Twitter talking about making this book, because she's always apologizing for the scenes that she's having the artist draw, and the artist, she seems just on the face value as being this kind of quaint little wholesome woman who would typically draw My Little Pony or something, and here she's drawing stuff. There's no way I'm going to open that book and show you with people running, because the video would get shut down, kind of a thing. So,
I saw issue 1 on the stand a little bit ago, and I glanced. I was like, "Whoa, okay."
It doesn't pull a whole lot of punches for some of that stuff. So, let's see. I want to talk about a whole bunch more. Let's. I don't know. Let's talk this one because it's relatively new. Someone might be interested in jumping on it or not. This is the Dark and the Bloody issue 2. One of those Vertigo books. It's okay. This issue gives us a little more background in that we get some more of the flashbacks to time in the Iraq War. That all seems to be tied together now with what's going on currently in the book. Like maybe they are main characters of the group of Marines who, crossed the line as far as, questioning prisoners of war and that sort of stuff, and some of the stuff they did while they were in Iraq. and now maybe they're being punished for it is kind of the hint that's here. There's some of his troop that came back with him, Marines living in other places that have wound up dead. They have feathers in their mouths. There were feathers at the crime scene of these guys that disappeared in the first issue who had bought moonshine from our main character, Iris. Iris is dealing with a certain amount of PTSD anyway, and then, of course, this actual, honest-to-God supernatural stuff is happening. So he's not sure how much of it is just in his head, how much of it is really happening. The people around him are kind of acting the same way too. How much of this is him just freaking out, because he has good days and bad days, and how much of this is, this whatever this creature is that's flying in and butchering them. It's okay. I don't know. There's not enough to really cement it together as to what all is there. Or maybe I get so many of these dang books. I may quite honestly just be reaching my saturation point in kind of horror comics right now, because there's a lot out there, which is awesome if you like horror comics. But because I'm reading so many, they're becoming less and less differentiated between the two, or between a lot of them. I shouldn't say just the two, kind of a thing. So what separates this book from the pack of them? So far, not a whole lot. Not that it's bad. It's just, if I'm reading 10 of them and 6 of them are all kind of about the same weight, I don't know. Yeah. Kind of a thing. What makes this one unique? Not necessarily anything. It's just another. It's cool. But I kind of like, Survivors Club too. I like Horror County too. I like, it's just like I said. There seems to be quite a breadth of them right now, and I'm enjoying them. There's just nothing that, like I said, that sets this one apart necessarily from any of the others. It doesn't have its own unique, kind of a twist. They're kind of backwoodsy, not quite hillbilly, but kind of off to the side hillbilly-ish kind of a thing. There's the old man that lives up the dirt road that he can see what's coming, an evil's coming kind of a thing, and how is he going to play into the whole thing while there's some fresh new monster that's somehow psychically tied into our main characters in one sense or another. Is it really some Iraqi spirit of vengeance coming to wreak revenge on these guys that did something horrible over there when they were in the military, or is it one of them whacking the rest of them? We don't really know exactly what yet that's going to be. Seems to be supernatural, but nobody knows. Yeah. I think that's it. Won't need to chat about the others and whatnot. There were some other good books though. Read Limbo, it was awesome. No Mercy continues to be lots of fun. But yeah. Anything cool going on next week, Luke? Any...
See, I know we got Starve. Next issue.
Oh, was that okay? Awesome.
We got Starve. I thought there was another.
Speaking of Starve, my daughter is kind of a foodie, at least as far as watching the Food Network. She watches all the Chopped and the Iron Chef and stuff and whatnot. She likes to browse through my books. She doesn't read most of them, but just kind of flip through the covers and looks at things. She came, Starve is back, last month. She came across that and she's like, sees all the silverware off the guy's head. She's like, what is this? So I kind of explained it to her. So now she's like, I must read this. So
yeah,
we'll see what that's going to be like for her to read that, what she's going to get out of it, because I'm going to have to dig all the issues out for her to read. So what else is going on?
That's been fun. Injection. We got Injection.
Oh, it's coming out. Awesome. Another Sandwich issue.
Sandwich.
Yeah.
Low number 12.
Yeah, awesome. Love Low. Next issue of Monsters comes out also, I think.
For me, Huck number 5.
Oh, Huck number 5. Yeah. That been going well. How long is that book supposed to go?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I know he's starting up a project with Capullo now too, so I don't know how long this one's going to go on.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit leery of picking up anything else by Millar. I just feel like I'm being played for a sucker at some point on those books. But I've been hearing that that's a great book. So I want to know how it ends in some sense, and then I will look at picking it up in trade. That's awesome.
If this is the last book for like this story arc, I'd highly suggest getting the first trade.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I'll check it out. Odyssey comes out too. I know hardly anybody else is reading that book, but I get a kick out of it.
Clean room. You're not gonna get Green Arrow 50.
No.
No.
Lucifer #4 comes out.
Yeah, I see that.
That first Legends of Tomorrow comes out, $8 book. It's got 4 issues inside that book. I don't plan on getting it, but I'm kind of curious about it.
Have you been watching the show at all?
Yeah. I'm up to date on it.
Good?
It's been fun. I mean, it's a comic book show,
Yeah.
and you have to watch it with the idea. If this was a comic book, I'd be rolling with it,
Mhm.
you know. And as long as you do that, it's fun, you know, for what it is, kind of a thing.
Okay.
What's coming out Marvel-wise?
Marvel.
Anything we have to get?
Me, I don't know. Whole Man Logan for that's a second printing. Never mind.
Power Man Iron Fist #2 comes out. Looking forward to that. First issue was a lot of fun. Was a good
Spider
laugh.
Woman. You guys are reading Spider Woman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that book. Yeah. I got a few books. I don't know.
I know. I'm next week's the week after. That's gonna be rough because I know I got Batman 50 floating. It's gonna hit me, and you get Superman and Wonder Woman. Be like,
Oh, sure. All those,
yeah.
all those
All at one
issue
time.
50s, right?
It's
Oh,
coming.
that's something. That's something I had heard too. That Justice League has been delayed. And the
Yeah, I
Sister
heard
Chases-
it's Baybox's last issue.
Well, I heard that they've delayed that. You know, came back to DC News that they've delayed Justice League so much that it is probably going to come out. It will come out 2 weeks after the first Rebirth stuff hits. We'll still be.
Mess around with Darkseid more still. Or 50. You talk about issue 50?
Yep.
Yeah,
So, to me, that I don't know.
I think it's only on issue.
See, there's a certain level of professionalism that just bugs me. It's just like the Secret Wars stuff. When that stuff rolled out, stuff was rolling out, and they kicked Secret Wars the can down the road so far that it's still running while the after effects are showing up in the regular books. Something wrong with that. Should not happen.
No, I mean, see, I don't know how you can because both of them are only doing one project. Johns and Fabok are only doing Justice League, so I mean, I don't know how.
Well, but the problem is,
and then Fabok had that nice break.
But you could go clear back to the beginning of Justice League and say the delays started with Jim Lee back in that first run of it, right? I mean, wasn't there? I mean, that's when the delays started, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when did they catch up?
I don't know. That's what I'm saying. They had that good, like, almost 2-month break in the current because they did all the tie-ins for the Darkseid War. So that's they basically shot themselves in the foot for 2 months just doing tie-ins.
Well, that's to let the main story get caught up, right? So I don't know. I'm just
so you're just thinking if you got that 2 months where you want to get ahead of the game and
you think, right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
It didn't happen. Oh man, that sucks.
So it's just kind of goofy when that kind of stuff happens. It's like, oh man, So what'll be awesome is if the old Justice League is still being put out when the new Justice League starts.
Yes.
So you get to read the new Justice League, then read an issue of the old Justice League, then read an issue of the new Justice League because it's double shipped.
Yeah,
that'll be great.
You see new comic book readers' heads go.
Basically, like, what the hell is this? If that's your jumping on point, if you suddenly walk into the comic book store for the first time and go, "Oh, read Justice League," because you're coming off the high of, Batman versus Superman or whatever. Step in and, that's gonna be awesome. Ugh. Hopefully that'll be the end of it for a while, right?
What's that?
Hopefully that'll be the end of the whole start and stop for a while.
Yeah, I know that's a whole nother conversation.
You know, and I mean, I pick on the delay thing, but at the same time, I'd rather have the book slowed down and I get a quality book than some hacked together. The last 10 pages are drawn by 14 people. Kind of malarkey.
But this is your COO. At the same
I know.
Time.
Right. Completely understand that. This is the
and
flagship.
I love them, and I love it, and
This is the flagship comic book. It is when the New 52 first started over, it was the comic because you had 2 of the CEOs on it, right?
Yeah.
Well, those guys shouldn't be working on comics, in my opinion. Those guys, if that's really their jobs, they should be doing all that other stuff, running the business, not making comics. If John wants to make comics, he shouldn't have taken that job, because I think it hurts everything he does. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting. Anyway, anything else you want to say?
Yeah.
Parting words. I'll have to look on Twitter to find out what the heck happened to Mike.
His modem went.
Oh, okay. I know he's having internet connection problems. I wasn't sure if it was going to be that or maybe the snowplow came to get his truck or something. So he's had to bail on us before for that. Well, Fred, thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Come back whenever you can. Happy to have you.
I don't get books until like 2 weeks from now, but I'll try.
Well, like I said, whenever. I've been there. I used to do the 2 every 2 weeks kind of a deal. Then this whole thing forced me to buy books every week. So, at any rate, so thank you all who are in the comments, commenting away. Much appreciated. All of you who chatted while we're chatting. Fill us in on the stuff we've missed and otherwise. Thank you all who watched this after the fact. Always appreciated. Once again, I'll repeat, you want to be on the show, all you gotta do is ask. I usually don't bite too much. Rarely do I say no. Come on the show and chat comics with us. Anyway, have a great night, and we'll see you next week.